This is He Knows the Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. We're keeping the foot on the what? On the X. We're keeping the foot on the what? On the X. Now, what's up, y'all? How's everybody doing today, man, on this beautiful Saturday? We got the Charlo brothers that's fighting. As you guys know, Jamel Charlo is going to be fighting basically Jason Rosario, and then we got Jamal Charlo that's going to be fighting Sergey Derevyanchenko. It's going to be an interesting fight. OXX going to be coming through in the building. We got a few other people that's going to be coming through. But bottom line is this, man. This is going to be an epic fight for both the Charlo twins. I expect both the Charlo twins to come out and for them to do their damn thing and for the Charlo twins to represent. Because when it's all said and done, the Charlo twins have vindication. Today is vindication from the last time. If you guys recall, the last time the Charlo brothers, you know what I'm saying, they were pretty much training in a fucking strip club. That's not getting yourself ready. That's not getting yourself mentally wired. That's why they went through the hurdles that they went through. You know, Mel, obviously, with the controversial decision with Tony Harrison, Maul with the close, decision against Matt Korobov. This is vindication for the Charlo brothers. And I expect the Charlo brothers to show up and show out. BJ Freeman, salute to you, brother. What's going on with you, man? How you doing today? Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, man, when y'all come through. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys support this live stream. Y'all support the podcast. Got a few guests that's coming through. OXX going to be coming through in the podcast, so we getting ready to tear this motherfucker up. But the bottom line is this. The Charlo brothers, as you know, BJ Freeman, because you out there in Texas, it's vindication time. It's time for the Charlo brothers to do what they got to do. The Charlo brothers they're going to represent, man, H-Town. That's what it's all about right now. It's H-Town vibe. I don't care what anybody tell me. PBC puts up great fight cards. In 2020, when you guys look at this calendar year of 2020, y'all going to think about PBC. I don't know what the hate for PBC is, to be honest with you guys. I don't understand why people got issues with Premier Boxing Champions. When all said and done, they put great fight shows on. They put great fight cards on. And the Charlo brothers are going to represent. BJ Freeman said, doing good, bro. Looking forward to the fights, bro. Texas is about to shine. Damn right, man. First the Charlo brothers. And then, in November, Errol the True Spence, man. They going to do their damn thing, man. When it's all said and done, they going to represent. Because that's what it's all about, man. Texas, stand up. That's what it's about, these Texas boys, man. They train in that hot heat. The reason why I respect Texas folks is because they're kind of, and BJ Freeman, I got to say this, they kind of, reminiscent of what I would say Florida cats, man. That's how we get down in Florida, man. We have to, train in high humidity. We have to train in, hot, drenching weather. You guys is dry heat, but y'all shit go up to like, 120, 130. This is what's about to happen, man. The Charlo brothers is about to make some fucking noise in boxing tonight. I expect Jamel Charlo to knock out, Jason Rosario late. I'm having it 11th round KO or TKO stoppage. That's my estimation of the fight and how the fight is going to play out. I got Jamal Charlo knocking out Sergey Derevyanchenko in 5 rounds because he's the more powerful Charlo. He's just stronger. He's more solid through and through. But Mel has gotten better. Derrick James has sharpened the tool yard. Derrick James has sharpened the tool shed. And the bottom line is these Texas boys, just like BJ Freeman said, Texas dudes are built different. That's right, man. That's how them Florida cats are too. They built different. But it's about Texas, dog. H-Town. It's time to put respect on the Charlo's name. I don't want to hear nothing. If you are a fight fan and you just say, let's just keep it boxing, let it keep it boxing. If you about that keeping it boxing shit, then y'all got to put respect on the Charlo's names because they're doing heavyweight lifting right now. Last time I checked, the Charlo brothers are fighting serious opponents. This is for unification bouts. This is for bouts to basically let everyone know and put everyone on notice that in the middleweight division, Jamal Charlo ain't playing. And based on his performance, which I expected to be, like I said, a 5th round KO stoppage, he should get the Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't see why that fight can't happen. Because that's the reason why Canelo Alvarez is in dispute issues with the zone. because the zone wants Canelo Alvarez to fight legitimate opponents. Quicker than you said, big ups, he knows. Salute to you. Tyrone Spencer says, salute, fam. Salute to you, too. Bottom line is this, man. When it's all said and done, the Charlo brothers got some noise to make. And we got to respect the fact that these guys are serious about what they're bringing to the table. We got to respect the fact that these guys are not playing, and these guys are about their business. The Charlo brothers have been doing this stuff for a number of years now. They've been having opponents ducking them, and they've been making noise. Jamel Charlo, just to see how, you know, he went through that twilight zone. He went kind of through that, what I would say, in between, trying to figure out where he was at. You know what I'm saying? In the Tony Harrison situation, how he bounced back. Because in that first fight, he was reckless. In that first fight, he was just basically looking for the knockout. And see, that's the thing. When you're always looking for the knockout and you're not using your fundamental ones and twos, and you're not being technical, and you're not being strategic in how you breaking your opponent down before you get the knockout, you're gonna go through some situations where your opponent's gonna take advantage of that. Tony Harrison's a good counterpuncher, so he took advantage of that in the first fight. But in the second fight, Mel needed to lose, because truth be told, sometimes in life, you gotta go through a crossroad so that you could realize that you can't take shit for granted. Let me say it again. You gotta go through a crossroads in life sometimes so that you gotta make sure that you don't take shit for granted. And that's what's happening with the Charlo brothers. That's what's happening with Mel. That's what happened with Maul. Maul didn't lose, but Maul saw just off of Mel how quick something like that could turn around, and how they knew that they couldn't bullshit no more. They couldn't be having no damn sparring in no damn strip club. Women make legs weak, y'all. Y'all know that shit, man. Let me say it again. Women make legs weak. Y'all can't be sitting here training in no fucking strip club, seeing big TNA shaking all over the damn place and thinking you gonna be focused. Nah, that shit ain't gonna allow you to be focused. You gonna be on some bullshit. Now they on that real shit. We saw the weigh-in. Mel looked good in the damn weigh-in. We saw the weigh-in with Maul. Maul looked good. These guys are ready to go. BJ Freeman said Canelo been trying to make sure he not getting his bag messed up by the zone and Golden Boy Crooks. LOL. See, let me tell you something, BJ Freeman. He ain't got no fucking choice, because the zone done signed this motherfucker to an 11-fight, $365 million deal. So the bottom line is they need this motherfucker to basically showcase what he's bringing to the table from that contract perspective. This guy's getting $30+ million per fight. So they need to make sure that this guy's for real and this guy's doing what he has to do. Jay Dixon says, salute, it's Charlo time. Ox, what's up, man? Salute to you, brother. How you doing today in the building, bro?
Stakes is high.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm chilling, fam. I'm chilling. How about you, man? How's everything going with you?
Yeah. Turn that down. What's good with you?
Chilling, fam. Chilling. We talking Charlo, man. Today is all about the Charlo brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? We talking about how the Charlo brothers making noise out here in these boxing streets. The Charlos are for real. They're ready to prove a point. They're fighting legitimate opponents. It's time to put respect on the Charlo brothers' names. I done said that Mel Charlo's probably gonna stop Jason Rosario late. I say by my estimation, 11th round KO or TKO stoppage. But I got Maul stopping Sergey Derevyanchenko because he's the stronger brother in the 5th round. So what's your estimation on the fight? How do you see it playing out? What's your fight prediction? How do you see the Charlo brothers doing their thing, bro?
Well, you know, this song right here, on the rights to it, Stakes is High, or High Stakes by De La Soul. You know what I'm saying? People got to tune into that. That should really be the vibe for the weekend, man. High stakes, man. The stakes is high. And it's speaking a lot to what's going on with our people right now also. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to De La Soul, man, for that gem, you know, that they blessed us with. You know what I mean? Get on that vibe, man. You know, raise your vibration up. But how I see it, man, I got a couple unique perspectives about the Charlo fight this weekend. And the perspective I'm coming from is this. Respect. You know what I'm saying? I respect the fact that they're even taking this kind of risk, you know, doing a double header as brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's saying a lot about how much they believe in themselves and the mark that they're trying to leave, you know, in boxing. You know, a lot of times it's not about it's not about the win or the loss. It's about how you win and lose in situations in life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they say, you know, you never really lose. You know, you just learn a lesson. You know what I'm saying? So tonight will be a lesson regardless.
Facts.
You know, it will be just a second. You know, it will be a lesson either way, win or loss. But you don't see Canelo taking risks like that. You don't see Bud
Mm-hmm.
taking risks like that. You don't see Pacquiao taking risks like that. As far as the pay-per-view thing, you know, I understand that there's a standard rate for pay-per-view, but I don't think that this fight is worth. I don't think this fight is worth no $75 because the
Mm-hmm.
undercard is so weak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see if, you know, even though I know Eubanks is not a super welterweight, but if Lil Maul was fighting Eubanks and Big Charlo was fighting Andrade, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or if Big Charlo was fighting Daddy Jacobs and Little Charlo was fighting, you know, Eubanks or whatever the case may be, or another prominent name in the division, I could justify a $75, you know, card. But the people on the undercard, we don't even know who the hell they are really like that unless you are a, you know, a true aficionado of boxing. So it's like it doesn't have a big major draw. And
Mm-hmm.
you're definitely not going to get Canelo's attention, or you're not going to get his fans' attention fighting people who are not a threat to Canelo. If you want to really get Canelo's attention, you got to fight people that are a threat to him. But I feel like Big Charlo is knocking on that door with the essential fact of him fighting, you know, Triple G's leftovers. But it's going to take
Mm-hmm.
more than leftovers to prove that. You know, both of them will prove a lot tonight if they come out victorious. I'm really pulling for both brothers, but especially Jamel fighting the Dominican, because I've been hearing a lot of disrespect from these Dominican cats just in general ever since
Mm-hmm.
the whole Black Lives Matter thing started. It's like, yo, how you get your hair cut like us, braided like us, dressed like us, go and try to get shines like us. Your whole swag and demeanor is carbon copied off of our culture, but
Mm-hmm.
they claim that they hate blacks, and so you got a lot of these Dominican brothers that look just like us. They
Mm-hmm.
just want to see, and they in America, and they want to see Charlo lose because of their roots to the DR. Now, if you're really
Mm-hmm.
from DR, you know it is what it is. You know you're gonna support your own. But these is two brothers in the ring. Rosario look like a brother to me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that folks are trying to divide it and chop it and screw it and stuff like that, I hope that Charlo is, you know, I hope you let them know what it is to be an American and what it is to be an American fighter. So I'm pulling for Charlo on both ends. You know, he has a lot to prove with. People are giving this guy Derevyanchenko, over however you say his name, the one that Marlo's facing, they're giving him a lot of credit due
Mm-hmm.
to him almost, you know, or looking good against Triple G. It's crazy. It's like when you're a black fighter and you lose, they trash you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a non-black fighter, they give you credit even for the way that you lost. And I feel like,
Facts.
okay, if you're going to give a warrior his credit, you should spread that credit. You should spread it evenly across all fighters. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? And since they don't do that, you know, I pull my punches and things like that when it comes to how I rate and analyze these fighters and stuff like that. I try to take a lot of the bias out. But
Mm-hmm.
I know in the male fight, there's going to be some racial bias. In the mall fight, it's not going to be biased based upon race, but just they've given him default clout for losing to Triple G, so they expect for him to walk through Jamal. And with all the talking that the Charlo brothers have been doing and the posturing they've been doing, I hope they show up tonight. People want to go off of how Rosario, you know, how he took advantage of J-Rock. They want to show those highlights, him crying with the belts. But this man was down on bended knee, crying and weeping and sobbing when he got his ass trashed, you know, by another brother. I think his name started with a V, but he has a loss on his record. You know, someone gave him a loss, and this man cried even harder. You know, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to bring up that highlight. They don't want to bring up how he was getting tagged, and it's like this: the way J Rock was catching you, you can't let Jamel catch you like that. And you
Facts.
do get touched. You do get touched. And this is why I said in my, you know, some of my preliminary videos about this bout, I specifically said I would like to see Charlo work on his elusiveness better, his defense better, because I don't want to see him getting touched with any of the things he got touched with by Harrison. But the fact that he did fight a fighter who had 20-some odd knockouts, he was getting touched and ate it, and came back and knocked this dude out. This is why I give Charlo the edge over. I give him the edge over Rosario. Now, I don't believe you should get into a chess match where you're trading with Rosario, because he is coming in there with the intent to knock you out, just the way that Harrison did. But he is not as a tight of boxer as far as tight offense, tight defense, knowing how to shell up and avoid punches. Harrison, even in that loss, since you want to give people like Triple G's opponents credit, let's give some of these brothers' opponents credit. Harrison displayed incredible defense that fight. He was able to deflect a lot of the attack that Charlo had coming in. It's just, if you even get that dude an inch, like they say in football, my old football coach would say, all you need is an inch of daylight, bro.
Exactly.
All you need is an inch of daylight. And you got to have, and you got to want it. All you need is an inch of daylight, man. You can make anything happen. And that's the kind of strategy that I see coming from Jamel. Like, he'll take any little opening that he can, and he gonna fire off on you. He may not fire off on you when you showboating and stuff like that. But when y'all in them trenches, see, this is the thing. Oh, Rosario, he got more reach than Charlo. He can walk Charlo. Listen, man. Number one, you're not gonna walk Charlo down. I'll tell you that. You ain't gonna walk Charlo down. If you get within striking range of that pit viper, he is going to strike you with a dose of venom that you ain't never felt before. You think J-Rock can hit? I don't believe J-Rock got more power than Jamel. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when Harrison raised back from the ashes, he need to get it in there with Rosario, or get in there with J-Rock. Again, I don't see Rosario even beating Hurd. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of interesting things that's going to line up after this fight. But there are some things that I've been listening to the opposition side of how they feel he's going to win. He's going to outbox Jamel. Jamel can be outboxed if he goes in there and he headhunts. But I think if we see a full balanced plate of, protein, carbs, and veggies, you know what I'm saying, then we'll see a much better fight. If he goes in there and he doesn't just go in there to headhunt and he boxes effectively or whatever, he has enough to get a unanimous decision and or stoppage. But it's just all about the game plan that he comes out with. And they're mature in every fight. You're seeing a little bit things different every fight. The stakes is high, like my group De La Soul said. The stakes is high in this situation, and I expect for Charlos to raise to the standard. I really want to hush these. There's a difference between Hispanic and Latino. This is the Latino community. Your Dominicans. I want to really hear them hushed up. I understand that they got pride and stuff like that or whatever, but when you come from that disrespectful, bigoted angle, you know what I mean? I don't respect that whatsoever. So I would like to see the banana split tonight. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see the banana split tonight. And that's my prediction for tonight, man. And if not, I'll jump right back on here, whether it's after the fights or whether it's next week when we jump on live, and I'll eat my crow. It is what it is. But I'm gonna put money on the Americans. I'm gonna put my money on the hometown brothers. Shout out to the Charlos. Like I said, I just wish that they wouldn't. It seems like they really tried to push and really reach for this this pay-per-view. And I respect anybody trying to get their paper. Don't get me wrong. I respect anybody trying to get their bread. Don't get me wrong. But you got to bring the goods to the table. Okay, both of y'all fighting, but this undercard is trash. This undercard is trash. And it is what it is. They're taking a risk. They're taking a risk with who they're fighting. So I guess that'll be action packed. And the other fights will, be action packed too. I've been to a Charlo event before, and like I said, when I sat down in my seat before the network even started rolling the camera, because they don't film the entire undercard in fights. Before the cameras start rolling, like I said, I start seeing people being pulled out in stretchers. So I was at the event for 4, almost 5 hours, man, watching knockouts or whatever the entire night. And so I respect them for that, and let's see what they do with this fight. But like I said, if you're going to be doing these double headers and expecting folks to pay $75. You got to stack that undercard up. Yeah, people are at home, but don't just assume that folks are going to pay for whatever just because they're at home. We still want that value. We still want value. Otherwise, that shit will get streamed. Or they will be on YouTube an hour after, hour after the fight. So, shout out to the Charlo brothers, man. We're going to see what they pull out the bag. A lot of people discredit them. And I think anybody associated with Floyd or anybody that they associate with Floyd, and just the fact that you're a black fighter, they're going to discredit you anyway. But I really hope that they understand that. And they come in there don't wear your emotion on your sleeve, but just come out there and prove whatever it is that you got to prove. Like I said, I don't like the way little Charlo, kind of takes a lot of hits, but I do respect his chin, his tenacity. Big Charlo, he gotta show us more. I don't want to hear nothing about no ring rust. I don't want to hear anything about the whole COVID thing or whatever the case may be. If you bold enough to do a double header during this time, let people get the value out of the money that they're spending. And so I respect them just for the fact that they have enough within them to even make this kind of push. Because a lot of people not even trying to take a risk like that. So you got to respect that, and we'll just see how it play out.
All right. My take on it is this. I feel like Jermell Charlo has the right trainer in Derrick James. Let's not forget, Derrick James was the 2017 Trainer of the Year, and the 2020 Trainer of the Year nominee got robbed, in my estimation, in that. And I do believe that he should be a 3-time Trainer of the Year, because 2019 and how 2019 played out, with Mel vindicating back with Tony Harrison and Errol Spence having the calendar year that he had in 2019. I do believe fundamentally that Derrick James should be walking around with 3 Trainer of the Year awards. That's just my estimation on that. To double back on some of the things that you said, I agree with 90% of what you said. The only thing is, I do feel like with this fight, we should support it and we should pay for it. Even though the undercard is weak, we should pay for it. When it's all said and done, as fight fans, we say that we support the sport of boxing. We support, what these fighters bring to the table. We haven't had, illustrious events like this since way back when, I would say in the early part of the calendar year, since this whole COVID-19 happened. So I think it's incumbent upon us. I'm not saying for people to break their bank and go and spend 75, but if you got it, why not, man? Why not support the fight? So that way we as fight fans can draw attention back to the sport of boxing. And doing this, it helps draw attention back to these venues, so that, these promoters and that these promoters, these independent contractors, all of these people can go ahead and put on these type of quality fights for us for the rest of the calendar year. And they'll be more motivated to make sure that they give more and more of a better product. But I feel like the Charlo brothers fights in of itself is going to be action-packed. I think both Charlo brothers understand what's at stake. And I think that the Charlo brothers are going to bring it. I feel like the Charlo brothers understand the magnitude of where they're at. And this is their first pay-per-view. So I feel that they're going to make the noise. I saw the weigh-in yesterday. They both looked like they were ready to go. They both looked ready and in shape. I don't see them making any excuses. And one thing that I can say about the Charlo brothers, one thing that I can say definitely about them is they don't make excuses. They lose, they lose. They win, they win. And they go out there and they perform and they do their best. Now, touching back on the Dominican side of it with Jason Rosario, just to give you guys a little history on, Dominicans, they're actually black folks. They are originally from Haitian roots and Haitian backgrounds. The thing is, they've basically denounced that background for some cockamamie reason, and they don't prescribe to the background. But that's the reason why, like what Ox was saying, when they get their haircuts like us and they look like us, it's because they are black. I mean, most of their side is what you would consider mulatto, which is a mixture. Black people that mixed in with the natives, the Tainos at the time, and mixed in with Spaniard folks, but they are of black origin. They're just confused, just like a lot of other black races. across the world that don't know that they're black. Certain parts of Egyptians in Egypt and Africa, certain parts of Brazilians in Brazil. There's just a lot of confusion out there, but they are of black origin. So I just wanted to put that out there. And they are of Haitian descent because the Hispaniola island used to be one island itself. So it was a black republic in of itself. If you guys do your history on that, you'll see what I'm talking about. But back onto the fight, man, the Charlo brothers is going to be a huge fight in of itself. And I feel like the Charlo brothers got something to bring to the table. I feel like they got something to prove. I feel like the Charlo brothers are talking a good game, but they feel like, I feel it. I don't know what it is, Ox. I just feel that energy. Remember when you went to that fight with Tony Harrison and you saw that energy with Jermell Charlo? I feel like that has carried over. Like, I don't see, if you notice one thing Jermell has made the change on, he don't call fighters bums no more. I think he had got so much to the point at one point where he just thought that, you know, I'm just better than the competition. I'm going to go ahead and knock the opponent out. I don't even see that same type of energy with Jason Rosar. I see a complete respect for the opponent, but at the same time, I feel like he has the confidence and the bravado, and he knows that he's going to knock this dude's head off. So that's the type of energy that I feel with Jermell Charlo. And Jamal, what I want to see from him is I want to see Jamal Charlo just basically go in there and dismantle Sergey Derevyanchenko. Now, in terms of Sergey Derevyanchenko, he actually got touted as a fighter that was robbed in that Triple G fight. A lot of people thought that he won that fight. So this is why, to me, a fight like this against an opponent like this that, you know, has good European ones and twos, has good phonetics. If Charlo beats an opponent like this is a quality name under his belt, because Sergey Derevyanchenko actually got robbed by that in that Triple G fight, because Triple G looked like he was just way past his prime in that fight. When I looked at that fight, I was like, how the heck did Triple G win that fight? Like, how the heck did they give him the nod of approval? But they did, and this is the last big fight that a Sergey Derevyanchenko gets. But I feel like based on the opposition of what Canelo Alvarez is willing to fight and why DAZN is putting pressure on Canelo Alvarez, because they're telling Canelo, look, man, we got to justify this $365 million contract. So that's why I'm kind of segueing into Canelo right now. The reason why they've been disputing with Canelo Alvarez is because Canelo doesn't want to fight legitimate opponents. He wants to tell the fight fans that he's willing to fight Triple G for a third time, which is a fight that we don't fucking want. This fight, we can't justify him and Triple G. We can't justify a third fight like that. We already saw how those two fights played out. And truth be told, I felt like Triple G got robbed in the first fight. The second fight, if people say that Canelo won, I'm not mad at that. But who wants to see a third fight like that when you have opponents like Demetrius Andrade, which is part of DAZN as well, too? Yes, he doesn't fall under Golden Boy Promotions, but he falls under Matchroom Sports. And that's an easier fight to be made, even more so than the Charlo brothers. Why not take on an opponent like that? And if they're saying that Canelo Alvarez can no longer be at 160, then you got live gate opponents at 168. You got Caleb Smith, that's a super champion. You got Caleb Plant, that's a super champion. You got David Benavidez. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's quality opponents out there, regardless on what weight class Canelo Alvarez think he can fall on. So I just feel like, as a fight fan, we need to challenge Canelo Alvarez and say, look here, motherfucker, you can't be having a contract like this and thinking that you're just going to cherry pick the situation and thinking that you're just going to fight whoever the fuck you want to fight. This is why Canelo Alvarez's career has asterisks on it. People that are Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys, they want to tell you, oh, well, he fought Floyd Mayweather. Well, he fought Errol Lara. Well, he fought... But what happened in the Austin Trout fight? Why didn't he run that shit back? Errol Lara got robbed in that fight. And then they said, one of the judges said that fight against Floyd Mayweather was a split decision. Kidding me? A split decision? How the heck did they come up with that? When we saw that Floyd Mayweather boxed the shit out of him. Floyd Mayweather gave him a classic boxing lesson. But I think the hangover of the Floyd Mayweather fight, the hangover of the Errol Lara fight, is the reason why Canelo Alvarez is scared and he's tucking his tail between his ass on why he doesn't want to fight an elite black fighter. Jamal Charlo poses a problem that Canelo Alvarez can't figure out. Because when you look at Jamal Charlo and you look at his body of work and you look at what Jamal Charlo brings to the table, salute to you, Body Snatcher Returns. This is an athletic and this is an explosive fighter that has ones and twos that can throw Canelo Alvarez off. If you recall, Ox, we talked about the athleticism, we talked about the explosion. As a matter of fact, if memory serves me well, that was a staple terminology that came from you as it pertains to Jamal Charlo in terms of athleticism and explosion. These types of things, and with the combination of the height differential and the reach advantage that's in Jamal Charlo's favor, Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to deal with that. And real fight fans, not Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys, if they're being honest with themselves, they would tell you that truth instead of them calling the Charlo brothers Charlo sisters. See, this is the problem that we have in fighting, right? Not the fighters. The fighters are never the issues. And see, this is kind of the one that I'm segueing on, Ox. I'm talking about Canelo Alvarez, but I think we need to talk about this for a minute because you felt it in your Facebook group. You feel it when you're going back and forth. These fight fans are probably the worst generation of fight fans we've seen in fighting since eons. If it's a fighter that they like and a fighter that they support, they tell you, you're a casual. You don't know shit about boxing just because you fundamentally fucking disagree. And if it's a fighter that they don't like, they want to shit on the fighter. But you just said, let's keep it boxing. I thought it was about boxers. I thought it was about supporting the fight game. I thought it was about supporting everyone as a fight fan. I thought that's what it was all about, supporting these sacrifices that fighters made. That's what I thought the sport was pretty much about. I thought that was what the comprehensiveness was about associated with the sport, but that's not the case. When it's Canelo Alvarez, the Charlo sisters. When it's Terence Buck Crawford, Errol Spence is ducking Terence Buck Crawford. When it's Lomachenko, Tank, he ain't ready. He ain't ready for Loma. See, there's always some bullshit that's going on. And I feel like we got to call these fucking fight fans out because they're the reasons why the sport is as divisive as it is. And they're the reason why fighters, truth be told, they're not clamoring to want to go out there and give these people a great and quality show, because when they do this shit, they get spit right back on their face that their achievements and their accomplishments don't mean nothing because they didn't fight this person or they didn't fight that person. The Charlos are fighting quality opponents this weekend. If whether you hate, love, or you don't like the fucking Charlos, you should be giving them respect for actually taking on opponents that your fighter couldn't take on. But I'm not hearing that. And see, this is what I'm seeing that there's a lack of. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing that there's a lack of keeping that same energy out here in these boxing streets. So I want you to speak to that, Ox, and speak to that divisiveness and speak to that issue that's going on in the boxing world, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to Lord to the game, man. It's I've been doing a lot of different studying about personal empowerment, centering yourself, protecting your energy and stuff like that. And what up, Tom Ross? Even with this live podcast and how we engage naysayers and stuff like that, whether it's an interpersonal situation or whether it's over the wavelengths or Wi-Fi, I'm gonna continue to protect my energy, and there's certain levels that I'm just not gonna stoop to. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna stoop to the level of mixing my energy in with these people who already have like a low vibration. Low vibrational people, all they really are looking to do is to make you dial down your frequency down to theirs. No, you're gonna have to come up to mine. And so we pick and choose, what we want to engage in and stuff like that. And there's certain stuff I'm just not going to engage in. Like in these fight fans this week, it's not uncommon, but as far as what's uncommon is I'm changing my direction on how I interact with people. And people are entitled to, support whatever fighter they want to for whatever reasons, but I'm even going to watch how I even judge, opposition, but I don't have to call somebody a clown, a casual, I don't have to talk about their appearance, whatever the case may be, all because I am, supporting a fighter in opposition to the fighter that they're fighting. I feel like all of that's a deflection. It's a distraction. You can't logically tell me why your fighter is going to fight. So you want to talk about the way my beard is shaped or the way my edge up is or some shit like that. It's because you don't really have any true you don't have any true sense of real debating. You don't have any real direction as to where you want your points to actually go. So you want to turn this into a childish, roasting session. And so I'm seeing that a lot with fight fans lately. It becomes personal. They try to, they try to come after you verbally on a personal note. Like, bro, you don't know me. And unless you got money on the fight or whatever, you don't got no money, in this production. So it's like, man, let's just enjoy the sport. If we all agreed, it would be boring, but people don't have any etiquette. They don't have any class. And so I expect that. But this generation of fight fans, definitely, a lot of personal bigoted feelings, a lot of personal racial feelings and stuff like that. It comes out in these fights. And it's like, man, leave your racial beliefs and bigoted beliefs out of the sport, and a lot of times, they get laughed out, they'll delete their comments after the fight. I'll go back on in a group just to look for these people that was talking slick. Like, I haven't responded to anybody that said that the Charlo brothers is going to lose. We'll see. I'm not going to go back and forth. I know where I stand with my points and my speaking points, and I will go right back on there if the Charlo brothers lose, and eat crow. I'll go ahead and post it up there. But if they don't, I want you to give me mine. I'm going to come looking for you. A lot of times, man, these cats, man, they already went ahead after that bell run. Before they start doing the 10 count on Harrison, these guys, they vanished. They disappeared, So, it is what it is, man. But it's just, it's a lot of that goes on in the sport. We got to get used to it, in a way. It's unfortunate. But, I'm just turning it around into something cute. If you got to get at a person sideways because you got a different view of opinion, that says a lot about you. Now we could joke and we could have fun and stuff like that. It's no problem. It don't affect me no way. These people don't know me, and I don't know them. And so it's not even really much for me to get personally offended by, but it's like, why is that always the go-to? Why are you, like you said, why are you always the casual? Why are you a clown? Why are you this or that? Just because we don't agree. Just because we don't agree.
Facts.
But they fighter can have losses. They fighter can get beat the fuck down. They fighter can be pissing amber. They fighter can be a diminished version shell of themselves. They fighter can be ducking. They fighter can be doing whatever. They cannot make any logical points whatsoever, and they will stand behind their fighter. Well, a lot of these people are fair weather fans anyway. So when a person starts going down the pipes, or they get exposed, you don't hear from them no more. What happened to all those Guerrero fans?
Exactly.
What happened to all those Marquez fans?
Great point.
There's very few fighters who've had people riding for them since day one, And so, like I said, it's very interesting. But like I said, I hope the Charlo brothers rise to the occasion so that they can solidify their respect in the boxing game. I feel like with every fight, because what people were saying for a while is that they were not fighting top level competition. Who they fought, who are you? That was Danny Jacobs' excuse, like who you fought. Basically, the who you fought excuse came out. And so what we need to, what this is showing people, okay, this is who I fought. These are the numbers that I'm doing in the midst of a pandemic. Let's get it. Let's get it. So the way that they not just win, it's the way that they win tonight, which is going to justify this $75 payday. Like you said, let's go ahead and pay it. Let's support the sport. I'm gonna go ahead and pay it anyway because I'm supporting another black-owned business. I know they don't own Showtime or whatever, but I know this is gonna help feed their family. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm all in it just for that. All I'm saying is I wish that undercard was stacked a little bit better. If you're gonna be doing pay-per-view stuff, it needs to be stacked a little bit better. If you're gonna do pay-per-view stuff, you need to not necessarily chase who has the hardware, but you need to chase who has the most notoriety. One of these guys need to fight Eubanks. One of these guys need to fight Billy Joe Saunders. One of these guys need to fight, some more. They may not have hardware or not Danny Jacobs, but there's names with more equity. That's the word, equity. You need to fight fighters who have more equity in the sport with the fans, that have fan equity, because that's what's going to draw the gate. That's what's going to make the $75 justifiable. There's certain fighters, Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders, there's fighters, Eubanks. Eubanks has a huge UK following. You know, your boy Eubanks, you know, I'm not saying he's trying to be like Floyd or nothing, but, you know, the way they floss over in the UK is a little bit different than how they floss over here. Your boy Eubanks came over there in that special edition McLaren, you know what I'm saying? And he gets a lot of attention over there. He get a lot of love over there. When he comes over here, he's just, you know, any other fighter. But in the UK, man, that dude is a man. He can't really go anywhere without people running up to him being surrounded by folks. So if you want to push, you know, the numbers, you know, we're talking about data, we're talking about numbers. If you want to push those numbers, you got to get people like that on your card. You know, even if you're not fighting them, you need to, you know, open up the platform to some of these UK fighters who have a big following over there. Even if you can't fight them, put them on the undercard so people can maybe even start whispering, you know, for you to fight them. You know, so, you know, like I said, even with your undercard, you got to strategically stack it. You may have a lackluster fight, but your undercard, it may have someone that's up and coming. Like I feel like why was Boots Ennis fighting last weekend instead of this weekend?
Right.
Like one more weekend. You know what I'm saying? You could have been a part of this double header. This is really the platform in the show. This would have gave him. He deserves to be on pay-per-view. You know, not these other two 122 pounders. He deserves to be on pay-per-view at this point in time in his career. That knockout was great. You know, people, you know, talked about his opponent and stuff like that. That knockout was great. His performance was great. His performance would have been a lot more publicized on pay-per-view than it was just on regular TV. You know, and as far as when it comes from a marketing standpoint, my mind is always clicking. My mind is always clicking on, you know, what can be done and what can be polished up a little better. I'm one of those guys that actually sit back and watch commercials, you know, and I try to understand the psychology behind it. And I just see a lot of loopholes and I see a lot of lapses in their marketing strategy approach, you know, and not with just these guys, but just with a lot of athletes, period. And so I don't know if there's contractual things that hold them back from making some of the, you know, pretty much minimal moves that I see, or if it's something else, you know, if they just haven't gotten word of they could play this move. I don't know if they're confined by contract or if they just haven't thought of certain ideas yet. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to go ahead and pay it anyway because I ain't got shit else to do, you know. But like I said, I really wish that more people were kind of in on this. This could be a lot more huge than what it is.
Love to the game boxing talk. What's up, man? We talking to Charlo. Obviously, as you know, on the back end, we talking these crazy ass fight fans, man. So what's your take on that, bro?
Man, you know, in my group, that's all I deal with is crazy ass fight fans. So I understand exactly what y'all mean with the casual stuff. You know, people calling other people names because, you know, it's that there people seem to be emotionally attached to an opinion, not to being right or accurate. You know, it's like they've went down a rabbit hole so deep with this opinion and they found propaganda on that opinion that they almost feel like even if you show them facts and points that they should or can agree with, they don't want to agree with it because they just want to be right more than they want to be, you know, like I would say correct. You know, they want their opinion to be right. And then once they find out that they don't have a valid argument with someone who can just not be emotional with them and spit facts, then the name calling starts, or this fighter's ducking this fighter, or this one's doing that. So, you know, at the end of the day, there's so many factors in boxing when it comes to matchups. You know, politics plays a big part. There's so much stuff going on in the background with who people are signed with. As I said before, the fighters don't pay themselves. You know, so there are people behind the scenes that have to agree to terms for things to actually happen, and it's the fighter's job to make sure that they're ready and they're prepared to get in the ring and do what they need to do. So I won't lie. I kind of had a preconceived notion about the Charlos. You know, when you all the way on the outside looking in, and I remember the night that after the Ocampo fight, what happened was myself and another person who we were following Errol Spence's car to the club, to the after party. We had to, so basically they parked. They valeted Errol's car, of course, because he was the guest, but they didn't have room for our car, so I had to go find parking. And by the time we got back, so many people were trying to get into the club, and everyone's already in. You know how security is like. Well, you know who are you? You know what I mean? And I had my media pass on and everything, and luckily, the Charlos pulled up, and they sent security to the front. And the Charlos helped me get in, you know? So from what I had saw from that was the preconceived notion that people have from the outside on how these guys actually are in real life. It's just, you know, social media make you think you actually know somebody. You know, you see pictures or you see interviews and you think, oh man, I know this dude. No, actually you don't know them. And, you know, I got to see that they're actually pretty cool guys. You know, it's just that people represent different from different places. Maybe that's just how they do in Houston. Like they just bout that. You know what I mean? It's like that's just how it is. Like they're fighters. You know, some fighters like confrontation. I mean, that might be why they're great at fighting. They're good with confrontation. So I think we just need to keep. I just think we need to always just try to remember to just keep it boxing. You know, keep it boxing at the end of the day, and just remember that you ain't getting none of that purse. So, you know, there's no reason for you to be that emotionally attached to, you know, to your opinion. And you know, a wise man knows that he's never right all the time. So you can be wrong. I get so many people because I'm pro Spence. You know, oh man, when Bud fight, you know, or Danny or blah blah blah, and Spence lose. Oh man, you're gonna shut down your account. I'm like, bruh, I'm not getting none of their money. You feel me? Like that's my opinion, but I'm gonna disappear because they took a loss. I mean, okay, well they took a loss. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go to work the next day, feed my family, pay my rent. It ain't see that go to show how emotionally connected to this stuff that people are. You know, but I mean. At the end of the day, it's just boxing, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like they said, you know, opinions like assholes. Everyone has one, you know. But just always remember, it's just an opinion at the end of the day. Salute to you, real Marlo. I'm definitely a subscriber, man. I'm a subscriber, man. I follow your channel, man. You be breaking it down, like keep it 100. So yeah, salute to you, brother.
Salute, bro. Salute, man. Salute. He knows the sport, bro. Appreciate it being on the panel, bro.
It's been a minute, man.
Always
real ones, bro.
Yeah, shit. I always see loyal to the game boxing in the comments, man. That's my dog. I fuck with loyal to the game boxing. Shout out to OXX. Appreciate he knows the sport. Let me on, bro. Appreciate it, bro.
Man,
real quick, like earlier today in my group, I had a guy who mentioned. I had a guy who, you know how I phrase it, a non-melanated brother came on and decided that he was just gonna start throwing shots at Al Haymon, like, oh, the reason why Bob Arum is this and that is because he could give us a free fight, and you know, Al Haymon make us pay for mediocre fights, and we, you know, blah blah blah. And I just kind of had to break it down to him, like, bruh, you see the propaganda BS you talking right there? Like, let's keep it 100. Like, Al Haymon's been running circles around Bob Arum, like in his sleep. You know, it's just basically he did it the correct way. He gave us the good free stuff first. He got us hooked with the Thurmans and the Garcias, you know, on CBS, and the Thurmans and the Porter on NBC, which at the end of the day was the reason why Bud Crawford was only able to do 50,000 buys with Victor Postal, because nobody wanted to pay for that. You know, when we're getting the good free stuff. So he basically took the viewers, and it's like at this point they were Top Rank was trying to do the pay-per-view stuff still at that time, and it failed. And just remember, they had to deal with HBO, and then HBO just got rid of boxing. So now that the money been effed up so much, now you got to give us good free fights. You know, like you got to give us a Teofimo Lopez and Loma on ESPN, because people probably like, you know, ain't that many people paying the $5 for the ESPN Plus stuff. Ain't no one. And then on top of it with Crawford, it's like you have to have the ESPN Plus, and then you got to buy the pay-per-view. I mean, ain't no one really trying to do all of that. And Ox brought up a really good point and phrase when he talked about the fighters having fan equity. You know, it's like that's why Crawford stuff don't sell. His opponents don't have fan equity. You know, and I try not to, you know, I said it last time. It's like, okay, well, Bud fighting again. Like, against who? So you have to think, when you're dealing with these so-called fans that want to call you casual, isn't it amazing that at this point, on Bud Crawford's 37th fight in his career with all these belts and accomplishments, that the best opponent that he's going to be facing at this point in his career is Kell Brook, that lost to Spence and GGG and already had face surgeries and stuff. I mean, that to me just says all that you really need to know, you know, about situations and how it's done. So you can't just always go off on an emotional tangent about, you know, your opinion on this fighter and that fighter. I always say this: we don't know who's gonna win till they get in the ring. They got to fight.
That's true.
They gotta fight. You know, I guarantee you, when J-Rock and Jarrett Hurd met up, most people felt Jarrett Hurd was gonna win that fight. J-Rock had been stopped before Charlo. You know, Hurd had dropped Lara. Was the first to stop Trout, and then J-Rock won the fight. Yep. So it's all about these fighters holding up their end of the bargain, living good, clean fighter lifestyles in between camps, and then when they get in the ring, then they perform and just let the best man win.
Real Marlo, man, the floor is yours, man. I want your take on the Charlo brothers tonight, and also about these kooky ass pure beta fanboys that when you talk to them, they want to tell you, you talk shit about boxing because you're not supporting my fighter.
Yeah, man, I'll be catching that a lot, man. It's like, if you don't say what some people want you to say, they say you don't know boxing, man. They say you don't know boxing, or they call you a fanboy because you ain't going with the fight that they going with. But we all know, man, boxing is full of, it ain't nothing but opinions. You know what I'm saying? It's all based on what you think and how you think it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's a competition sport, so the fans also go at each other like it's a competition, but do take it like, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I be ignoring them niggas, though. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I be seeing them, man. I be laughing at their ass, man. I be talking shit back to them and all that. Like, them dudes, man, is some lames. I just be like, man, these niggas lame as fuck. But with the Charlo brothers, man, I can't wait. I just ordered it like 15 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? And hit the record to get it ready or whatever. But what, we breaking down the fight too?
Yes, sir. I want your take on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with Jermell Charlo versus Rosario, man. That's probably like my favorite fight of the night, though. Rosario is a tough ass dude, man, but I still got Jermell Charlo knocking him out. But he gotta watch out for Rosario, like, counter punching. Rosario got some good. He give me like Earl Spence vibes. They technique different, but he give me like that type of vibe. Like, he got them hard thudding punches, and he coming forward, and you think he just coming forward, but the whole time he ready for the counter punch. He ready for the pull counter. He ready to react to everything you do. So Jermell Charlo, when he come out, he can't. I don't think he should be because when he came out with Tony Harrison, he came out with like some little wild hooks and shit like that. Like, he throw a couple punches just to throw it. Like, he gotta like watch out for punches that, because Rosario gonna be waiting on the punches he missed so he can count on them until he hurt him, and then he gonna go all out and
Facts.
try to get Jamel Charlo out of there. Jamel got to stay on his toes because that's what he do best. You know, he got the superior footwork compared to Rosario. He got better footwork. You know what I'm saying? He fast, he quick, he know how to utilize the ring more. He got the experience. He been fighting all the tougher competition back to back. And he should be able to knock Rosario out, man. Like, he should be able to, like, lure Rosario in. You feel me? The same thing Rosario gonna be doing to Jamel. He should be able to lure him in and dart in with like a fast hook or something, or whatever he do, and catch Rosario. Because I don't think Rosario got the chin. I ain't saying he got a weak ass chin, but I don't think he got the chin enough for Jamel. We know Jamel Charlo is the hardest puncher at 154, like flat out. Like, you know, he already proved it. Even if you don't think so, he proved it already.
He's proved it.
You know? Yeah, and we seen everybody else chin. I seen Rosario get stopped by I forgot the dude's name.
Gilmore.
I forgot.
Gilmore.
Yeah, Gilmore. Yeah, he got stopped by him. He got stopped. You know what I'm saying? But I also heard Rosario say that this is his first like real full camp. You know what I'm saying? He having a full camp. So that might play into factor. So I expect him to be like at his best, you know. But Jamel Charlo ain't no fucking J-Rock. You know what I'm saying? J-Rock was standing there in front of Rosario the whole fight. He was letting him unleash combinations. You know what I'm saying? So what was wrong with J-Rock, but he went right, man. His style didn't, and his chin ain't hold up against Rosario. And then with Jamel Charlo versus Derevyanchenko, I've been watching him, you know what I'm saying, studying him. I seen him get dropped by fucking Denny Jacobs in the fucking first round, bro. And he got dropped by Triple G in the first round. But we know Triple G hit hard, but I looked at Danny Jacobs like, man, he got dropped by Danny Jacobs. Jury's looking at the motherfucker, man. He got dropped by this dude, man. Jamal is about to knock his ass out just off of me seeing that. You know, but he got good boxing technique. He got good boxing skills, though, for sure. And he aggressive, so that's going to play into Jamal's hand, man. Both these dudes should get knockouts for the night, man.
Facts.
And Jamel Charlo should be like in the pound for pound 10 rankings, man. After this knockout, if he knock out Rosario, like I think he's going to, he should be in the pound for pound because first of all, he undisputed. You know what I'm saying? He's been fighting all the tougher competition, and I want to see him fight Hurd next if he can get past Rosario. Because I don't want to see no fucking Lubin. Because I seen Lubin fight the Shea last weekend, and that boy chin ain't right either. So there ain't no point with him back in there. You know what I'm saying? We already seen what happened. He still ain't ready.
He the mandatory though.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he need to mandatory his ass somewhere else because he ain't ready for Jamel.
I was just telling my brother that. Yeah, he said that chin has been checked permanently, and homeboy didn't even hit him clean, like on the jaw. It was just as soon as he started throwing punches and landing a punch, you saw Lubin's knees get a little wobbly and stuff. Yeah, I said, "Whoa, you better not run in there with Charlo might kill you this time, bro. You don't want to run up in there."
Ain't even no hard punch.
What I always say, Marlo, is this: that Mel is a venomous viper, man. Every time he keeps striking you like the way a viper strikes his prey, man. He just keep coming. He's relentless. In a way, his style, you could tell that's what makes Derrick James so profound as a trainer. There's this pattern of accumulation of punishment that anyone that falls under the fold of Derrick James, that fighting style will always be prevalent. You see that with Errol Spence. You see that with Jamel Charlo. When they got blood and they could smell it in the ring, they're going to keep coming after the opponent. And that's what happened in the second Tony Harrison fight. When he saw that Tony Harrison was getting wobbled and getting stung, he finished him. And I feel like that fight, that second fight, the real Marlo, with the Tony Harrison, there was improvements that was made on Mel's side. Mel realized I can't just go in there and try to knock somebody's head off. I got to set that shit up. And yeah, he was eating some shots, but that's because Tony Harrison, that speaks to his pedigree of him being a counterpuncher. He's an effective counterpuncher. And people don't realize, and they undervalue Tony Harrison, saying, who the fuck is that? Tony Harrison can fucking counterpunch. Anybody that would have been in the ring with Tony Harrison at 154 would have had a counting punching field day with that opponent. And that has nothing to do with Jermell Charlo. But Jermell Charlo, he is a front foot dominant type of fighter. He can fight on the back foot, but his style is mostly to press forward, to charge forward. You know what I'm saying? He got that kind of Rome mentality, you know what I'm saying, to dominate his opponent in the ring. So when you're a front foot dominant fighter, you're going to get wet a little bit. And that's what fight fans don't understand. I don't know no front foot fighter that don't get wet a little bit or get wet somewhat and take shots. But what we've seen with Jermell too, because you talked about that, Arum, Marlo, not only is he the most powerful 154, Mel got a fucking chin. And Mel can hold up. His chin can hold up in the ring. And one thing that I like about Jermell Charlo is he's ready to go in that phone booth and he's ready to go to war with you. The thing with Jason Rosario that I noticed, and that's why I call him Banana Republic. Y'all saying Banana Split, but to me, he's Banana Republic. He gonna get treated like Banana Republic in that ring because this dude, he's patient. I'll give him that. But one thing that I saw with Jason Rosario, and I'm glad Loyal to the Game Boxing Talk talked about it with the knockout fight, is if you touch him up enough, his chin will be suspect. And if you saw that fight against J-Rock, which we all saw, J-Rock was tagging him with some good shots before J-Rock got reckless. I could only imagine if that's Jermell Charlo's lateral ability that's hitting Jason Rosario with those same level of shots. And I feel like Jason Rosario is feeling himself too much. See, he went from this humble, I done beat J-Rock, to then all of a sudden, he started acting like Hit 'em Up, Tupac, Suge Knight, Dr. Dre. Like, what the fuck? You think you arrived, nigga? Snoop Dogg? Like, you think you arrived? Nah, it ain't that kind of party over here, man. You can't be running that shit with lions only, bro. Them dudes right there, they come with that shit, man. That's what people don't understand about them Charlo brothers. That H-Town vibe, that damn dry-ass 120-degree weather heat, them Charlo brothers, they train like nobody's business, man. They make them thoroughbred out there in Texas, man. And what Jason Rosario's going to get is he going to get a full onslaught of that iron sharpening, iron sparring that Charlo been having with fucking Spence, man. I'm telling you, Jason Rosario don't even understand what he about to come into. It's a whirlwind this motherfucker going to come into. This is like a shell shock. Y'all know, and I got to correlate this to basketball. Y'all know in basketball how a team play a garbage-ass team, right? In a previous round, and then they go and then they play a dominant-ass team in the next round. And then they thinking because they done whooped up the sorry-ass team, they feeling themselves. They're like, yeah, man, we gonna do our thing. And then they go to game one, they're like, oh, shit. Yeah, there's levels to this stuff. This is a better fucking team right here. That's what's going to happen in that Rosario and that Charlo fight. Rosario going to get a fucking shell shock. And to me, Jamal Charlo, because I really want you to hop on that, the real Marlo, Jamal Charlo to me is not getting enough fucking credit, man. Because this fight right here is a quality fight with Sergey Derevyanchenko. I want your take on that shit, bro.
Yeah, none of these dudes, and they wonder why they keep getting gone off on, you know what I'm saying, the reporters and shit for disrespect. You know, Jamal Charlo go off on a reporter every year, bro, every fight, because they always asking them stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? They ask them about other people that ain't got nothing to do with who the fuck. Anybody want to talk about Canelo every fucking fight? Nigga, fuck Canelo. In the lawsuit with motherfucking Dazzin in the zone and them, he in the lawsuit with them, and he ain't fighting. He ain't got no date or shit. We not talking about this. So I understand why Jamal Charlo always got to check a reporter, man, because they always ask him stupid shit. And then Jamal Charlo, man, he gonna get his credit for something. If he knock out Derevyanchenko, you know what I'm saying? We got Chris Eubank. I thought that dog was finna get loose. We got Chris Eubank Jr. He can get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? And then Jamal Charlo always got 168. You know what I'm saying? He got Caleb Plant. He got fucking Jose Benavidez. No, David Benavidez. He got him. He gonna get his time for sure. He just want it now because he put in all the work. He want that shit now. So, but after this fight, I'm gonna give him all the credit he's supposed to get, and hopefully everybody else in the media, you know what I'm saying, stop dick riding on the other fighters. You know what I'm saying? That we don't give a fuck about. You know what I'm saying? They be talking about guys who we don't even give a fuck about, or we don't even, you know what I'm saying, know or see. When Jamal Charlo right on our face, fight on Showtime, pay-per-view, you know what I'm saying? This fight should have got way more attention than it did. But, you know, I'm going to blame it on COVID-19, but I can't blame them because they got a lot of hate too. You know what I'm saying? They slept on and hated on. But it is what it is. Jamal, he going to get it just through real soon. He get what he been asking for.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man. So let's switch up gears, and I'm gonna start off with Ox on this one, man. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I feel like we got to talk about this shit, man. We got to go into this motherfucker, man. This fight right here is the creme de la creme, dog. At the end of the year, man, I can't fucking wait for this fight. I've been salivating at the bones, the real Marlo, since the end of that last fight. I like the energy that I'm seeing from Deontay Wilder. I like the fact that Deontay Wilder don't went into the, I call it the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? He's hidden, and when he did resurface, what I did see, Ox, and I was impressed, was he was looking like the athletic Wilder. When they gave that quick snippet, I was like, okay, this motherfucker training. This motherfucker putting in work. I don't see no soul food. I don't see no BSing. I see a motherfucker that's ready to get in there and baptize Tyson Fury. This is my take on it. I'm going to leave it like this. I see, loyal to the game, the real Marlo and Ox, I see Deontay Wilder finally catching that body in that third fight. What's your take on it?
You wow, man.
I think you know, we all kind of fear that, but we also want to see it at the same time. You know what I mean? You know, this is the thing with Wilder, man.
Oh, Lord.
I'm gonna support Wilder regardless. You
Me
know,
too.
I just hope that he is able to come up with a different strategy. I also feel like this. Number one, you know, these guys are belt holders and professionals. You know, for a reason. So I respect any fighter that has enough within them to get in the ring. I think somebody got to mute out. I'm hearing some background noise. But you know, any fighter that is man enough to step into the ring, you know, you got to, you know, give them their respect. But I don't really give too much respect to dope heads and dope fiends. You know what I'm saying? And I said this and I'm going to say it again. And I know I'm glazing over a lot of my points, but you fought a crackhead, man. You fought a crafty crackhead. You know, you fought a crafty dope fiend. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? And people, it ain't about making excuses or whatever, you know, but this man did tamper with them gloves. It's protect yourself at all times and expect the unexpected. And we learned that, you know, from the likeness of Floyd and stuff like that. People tried to cheat this man his whole career. Especially when you're trying to go in there and you're trying to, you know, ride for the culture and stuff like that. You got to understand something. That makes them hate you even more. I was very disappointed in Tyrone Woodley. How you going to wear Black Lives Matter and go in there and get your ass whooped? This is why you shouldn't wager your fight on the culture. Don't never bet. Don't never gamble with the culture. You understand what I'm saying? Never gamble with the culture, bro. That's number one. It's about you and that man in the ring. We already know you black. We already know that, you know, you got black fans and ancestors looking down on you and stuff like that. Never try to wager a fight on the culture. The culture is going to do and be what it is. You know what I'm saying? But you go in there and you handle your business on behalf of the culture. You understand what I'm saying? Now, Fury is a crafty crackhead, like I said, man. And you got to get off on him the way you did Bermain Stavern. You know, you got to get off on him the way you did Bermain Stavern. You got to get off on him the way you did a lot of these other guys, man. You're not a boxer, Wilder. We love you. You know what I'm saying? But you are not a boxer. You're a brawler, okay? And for you to be a more of a slim kind of guy, a more of a quick twitch kind of guy, you clearly have the endurance to go 12, which is very surprising, you know, for a man your size and stuff like that. But I would like to see your energy utilized a lot better. I want to see carpet bomb type style. I don't want to see precision bomb. I want to see carpet bomb. I think Wilder got hypnotized by his own highlights of him landing that one shot, and that's what he started to basically market and predicate his whole strategy on, is that landing that one shot. All I need is one shot. And so he would be looking for that one shot instead of laying and setting traps. You know, you need to be laying landmines and setting traps and booby traps and dropping carpet bombs and all kind of shit. You should be throwing a whole kitchen sink at these motherfuckers, because you can't really box like that. Your footwork is very, very junior varsity. You know what I'm saying? Like, your footwork is trash. Your balance is trash. You know, your execution of basic boxing moves is trash. And we love you, bro. But the same thing, it's the same thing with family, man. Like, look, if you really love a person, man, you tell them when they right and when they wrong. Now, I'm not talking about him on a personal level. I'm just saying the same thing that Floyd Mayweather Sr. said, man. Wilder ain't shit. He can knock guys out or whatever, but what would Wilder be? And Floyd came out after the fact and said, I will train Deontay Wilder. Now, you know the Floyd Mayweather boxing gym is open. You know they getting that work in. Despite whatever his father may have said, and put your ego to the side and get with the best in the game and do what you got to do. If you were getting some of that training that Tabiti was getting, even though Tabiti got dropped, if you were getting that training that Tabiti put you on, they put Tabiti on, we wouldn't be talking about Fury right now. This dude is not even that, he's not that much better than you. He don't have a better resume than you do. He don't really have that much skill. It's just, since you telegraph all your punches, you're easy to time, you're easy to counter. Now, I look at it like this. I believe that Ortiz was a better boxer than Fury. I see Ortiz stopping Fury if given the opportunity, because he actually can box. You know, it's just Deontay Wilder got that eraser. But Fury ain't got the eraser like how Deontay Wilder has. You know, so if anything, I could see Ortiz going a full 12. I could see Ruiz stopping Fury. Because one thing about Ruiz, he going to come in there and he going to throw everything at you. Hooks, overhands, lefts, rights, all of that. He going to come in there and step to you and put the hurt on your ass. He ain't just looking for one punch. He knew he couldn't knock out Anthony Joshua with one punch. I know one punch is all it takes, but it's the placement of that one punch. And you're not going to be able to place that one punch unless you throw in a couple more before it or after it. You know, so it's about the strategy, and I hope that he's in the wilderness working on strategy. You know, I hope he's out there. You know, I seen him out there with a Barrett 50 cal practicing in the woods. Shout out to all my, legal gun owners out there. You know, we will be doing some reviews on some of this weaponry and stuff like that also in the future on my page. I got some things I want to show you guys for sure. You know, but shout out to, Deontay Wilder with that big 50 cal Barrett out there doing some, target like that. I hope he's really working on his predatorial instincts. You know, we already know that he got the ability to erase you, you know what I'm saying, with one punch. But I would love to see him set that up a little bit better. So it's not like, oh, I want him to win, I want him to win, I want him to win. I want to talk about the things. I want to put that energy in the atmosphere, and I hope it manifests. I want to put the energy in the atmosphere that I hope he sets Fury up in traps, just like how they say in Psalms 23. I hope that the traps that my enemy set for me, that they fall in their own trap. You know what I'm saying? And I know that he's a biblical man. I know he's a religious man. I would challenge Deontay Wilder to subscribe to Psalms 35 and really check that out. If you got any kind of beef or turmoil or conflict in your life, I challenge any viewer, whether you're religious or not, to just read that scripture, man, and understand what it means, especially during these times if you're a black man. You know what I'm saying? Read Psalms, not Psalm 23, but Psalms 35. But anyway, Wilder has to work on that strategy, that predatorial strategy. The one mark of a true hunter is, you're not always going to get your prey. They don't talk about that. You may see the taxiderm head on the wall, whatever the case may be, but you don't know what it took to get there. And they had to fail before they got that prize hunt, that prize, prize book, that prize elk, whatever it may be. There's some very elusive creatures, out in wilderness when it comes to hunting. There's some creatures that are more slippery than others. There's some creatures that'll turn around and give you a little bit, before you even take them out. So you got to be careful. But hopefully he's out in the wilderness and he's focusing on strategy. He's focusing on his output, his methodology of how he wants to win. He's capable of winning, but it's going to be the method and how he wins. That's what's going to dictate the fight. But I'm excited for it. But, Fury is, saying Fury is talking about everything but Wilder. He's talking about Anthony Joshua. He's talking about this person. He's talking about that person. And his movement and his posturing, it still breeds fear to me. You have literally, hit this man behind the ear with a tainted glove, just to get this man in a position where you could win. So I would love to see them run it back. I don't think he should be fighting anybody else but Wilder. I don't think he should be fighting anybody else but Wilder this year or next year. You need to run that back with Wilder first before you go do anything else. And if you don't do that, that's a tell right there.
Facts. Man, loyal to the game boxing club. What's your take on Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury? I still love that crafty crackhead. If you saw me laughing my ass off, it was because of that. That's good.
I don't even know how I could follow that. I mean, I got it. I have an issue with the boxing public with this one. Like, I try to be as objective as possible. And so Deontay Wilder is not the purest boxer. He's not the most skilled boxer. However, he's accomplished what he has accomplished. We know he has an eraser, and he's a lot more skilled than people think because he's beaten some skilled fighters. So we're not going to sit and act like, okay, Tyson Fury didn't come out with a good game plan. However, we have to look at what we see with our own eyes, with the glove. I mean, people get mad when you speak about it, but I got to speak on it because, what makes boxing matchups great is fighters' strengths and weaknesses or attributes and cons are compared to the person that they're matched up with. And okay, so I would have to say that Tyson Fury is the better pure boxer than Deontay Wilder. I've never seen anyone that size who's able to bounce around on their feet and do the stuff he's been boxing from a very young age. That just comes with time and experience and practice. Deontay Wilder started late. However, the fact that Wilder has that type of power that he has and the amount of skill and ability and his fortitude, that's one of the things I really like about Deontay Wilder is just his warrior mentality. I like that about Wilder. And when you match the two up with him and Tyson Fury, that's what makes it a good fight based on the attributes. But if you're going to go and then tamper with your gloves to give yourself an additional strength or advantage in the fight, then it's not the same fight anymore. And I'm one of these people who I say, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, is a duck. I mean, you see the pictures. All right, if we go back to the first fight, right? We see the pictures and the video of Tyson Fury having his gloves on real loose that he's flipping the jab. Nobody's, nobody's glove is doing that when they're throwing a jab. Nobody's landing a punch and the part where your fingers are like this is like this and your fist is in this part. I mean, look, again, okay, Tyson Fury has more pure boxing skill than Deontay Wilder. I mean, someone is normally better than the other at something. So that's fine. But where have all of his knockouts been when we're talking about Tyson Fury? To see him go from what he normally does to what we saw that night, I mean, when you're watching the fight, you're caught up in the moment. And then you have these emotional fans that love to say, oh, Wilder's trash and he does this and he does, blah, 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 blah. And they're so happy to see him lose that no matter what happens for him to lose, it's okay because they're so emotionally connected to them wanting to be right that he was going to lose. But, you look at what Tyson Fury had to do in order to make that happen. And it takes me back. I know when Ox brought up, Ox always brings up really good points. It takes me back to when Maidana and Robert Garcia were trying to cheat Floyd in the first fight with their gloves. The same thing, So again, it is protect yourself at all times. But we saw what happened when Marcus Maidana fought Adrian Broner, right? We're going to just rewind really quick. What I noticed about the Marcus Maidana Adrian Broner fight was, of course, Adrian Broner went partying and stuff and came back and had to lose all his weight. But Marcus Maidana was using Alex Ariza as his strength and conditioning coach. And when he stepped into the ring the night of that fight, he was a freaking middleweight. Yep. Adrian Broner is a very small. I've seen Adrian Broner a couple of times. He's a small guy. He's not big at all. You see him, he's small. So he gets in there with a middleweight, and then he loses that fight. And then they use the same game plan and they go in there with Floyd, but they try to do the same thing. Throw him in there way bigger and way stronger. And then to also take the pattern out the gloves, So you look at that, and then you look at Tyson Fury's situation. It's just that Leonard Ellerbe caught that because they're so used to being in these big fights and big moments, and they know that these people will do whatever because the stage is so big to win. And I feel like on Deontay Wilder's side, stuff in the camp needs to tighten up. I mean, they're going to be aware of that this time going around. So it's going to be very interesting to see if we don't see a replay that's very similar to Cotto Margarito, where if the punches in the third fight don't affect Deontay Wilder the same way, if it walks like a duck, it looks like a duck, it's a duck, So just too many things. Then you have a sparring partner of Tyson Fury who takes a video and exposes that he did the same thing in sparring. But people, for some reason, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because Tyson Fury is a better boxer than Deontay Wilder, so it's just an excuse. But we're seeing all of these little tidbits of stuff that's coming out that shows that things weren't, quote unquote, too kosher going on in that situation. So you have to they definitely have to run it back, like Ox said. And if they don't, if Tyson Fury doesn't want to run it back right away, that tells me a lot about what's going on with that situation. If he's not looking to run it back immediately, then that tells me all that I need to know. And win, lose, or draw, whatever happens on Deontay Wilder's side of the fence, for me, I'm going to stand tall and I'm going to stand proud regardless of what happens in the third fight with Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder doesn't cheat the culture. He doesn't act one way just because the camera's on and act like he's not a part of who we are. Deontay Wilder comes off to me as a black king, and kings lose battles. It happens. Not every king was undefeated in battle. Kings lose battle. But what I could say is that he stood tall. He wanted to continue. Even when when the towel was thrown in. That's another thing that that I like to show the comparisons with when they talk about Triple G and Kell Brook. When the towel was thrown in for Deontay Wilder with a dent in his head and his ear bleeding, he still wanted to fight and almost wanted to fire the guy in his corner. When the towel was thrown in for Kell Brook and he was never even dropped in the fight, he never said, "I want to continue."
Yep.
And you have to look at these characteristics in fighters, because that's when you're in your darkest and deepest moment with yourself in battle. So for me, when I see Deontay Wilder be a person like that, say, saying I want to go out on my shield. I'm a warrior, and I understand, the guy in the corner love him, don't want to see anything happen to him. But for that characteristic alone is why I will stand with Deontay Wilder, win, lose, or draw, no matter what happens.
I agree with that. The real Marlo, man. What's your take on it? Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, man. I know you got a lot to say, bro.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I agree with a lot of what Lloyd to the game Boston said, man. I agree with a lot of what he said, but I still like. I feel like it was Wilder team fault for not taking them gloves. You know what I'm saying? They were supposed to be on top of it, but I guess they got caught up in like the moment, and the fight was so big. They just expected Wilder to just come in there and you know what I'm saying, knock Tyson Fury out. And I feel like his team might be a little scared of him, you know. They might be, because sometimes, because I'm guilty of that shit too, just not my team being scared of him, but just my team, you feel me? Like sometimes your team don't really like say, like, they don't like, they ain't gonna speak as strong as you gonna speak, you know? Like they ain't gonna say, like, you know the saying when they say, if you the smartest person in the room, you know what I'm saying, you're in the wrong room. Like kind of like that. Like I feel like he was the head honcho in his camp. I mean, of course, but at the same time, it wasn't nobody next to him. You feel me? At least right hand man, left hand man. You know what I'm saying? That can at least be like, we gonna make sure everything's straight. We're gonna make sure not only the business straight, we're gonna make sure the gloves straight. We're gonna make sure, because like Lloyd to the game boss said, when you look at Mayweather would have never let no shit like that go down. And even Shane Mosley, coach, rest in peace, Hazine Richards. Hazine. I forgot how to say his name, but
Nassim Richardson.
Yeah, Nassim Richardson. He caught fucking old boy ass with
Margachito.
the brick. Yeah, caught his ass with the brick padding in his fucking gloves, and I believe he probably fucked up some dude's career previous to that by doing that same thing. So you feel me? Like they think they could have messed Deontay Wilder up permanently. So for that to be letting, you know what I'm saying, for them to let that like slide through, like somebody gotta get fired for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I have to fire some motherfuckers for a motherfucker to let this nigga come in here and fucking hit a dent in my head and fuck me up like that. Somebody gotta get fired. Cause we know he cheated. He cheated for sure. It ain't even no way around it. He took the padding out of his gloves, and he probably had some in the glove along with that. So that's like a big flag on the play, man. We can't let that go down. But it is what it is. That's the past. Got to move forward. Wilder got another chance. You feel me? They'll knock this dude out, man. And because you can't scream, they cheated me, and then get in the ring and lose again. So you can't, that shit ain't gonna work because ain't nobody gonna want to hurt it. But if Wilder can come back in and knock Tyson Fury out, then his case be made even stronger that this motherfucker came here and cheated me, man. So, you know what I'm saying? We made sure everything was right. But I gotta see him. I haven't seen nothing from Wilder though. Have y'all seen something? Because I ain't seen nothing from Wilder. I ain't seen him, you know.
I saw one snippet of him showing up, and when he showed up, it was like a screenshot picture they took. He looked like he was in shape. I ain't seen him like in the public, but I did see one snippet of him being out there where they were like taking a picture of him, and I think it was just his way of letting people know I'm in the wilderness putting work in. And then I saw the other clip of him shooting with the 50 cal. Those are the only two times that I've seen instances with him.
Okay. So Wilder, man, he probably good, man. I'm sure he good. Because Wilder always had that mindset. I look at things that happened previously, like, and how he talked previously to that. And a strong mind can get you past anything, you know what I'm saying? As long as your mind's strong, you can get past the troublesome or whatever that goes on in your life, and I can speak for that shit for a fact. So I know if his mind is strong as I thought his mind was up until this whole point, then he good for sure. He gonna come back and he should be able to knock Tyson Fury out, man. He should be able to do it, but he definitely need like somebody in his camp that's like real serious, like a serious person. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody you just, because sometimes you can have your partner, you know what I'm saying, some shit like that, and they so used to being around, they won't really, you know what I'm saying, they call them yes man. They won't really like, you know what I'm saying, be on point. You need somebody. I think he needs somebody serious. If he can do that, then I'm gonna pick Wilder any way it go, because Tyson Fury is a funny looking ass white boy, and I ain't gonna never pick him, no matter what the hell he did. I ain't gonna pick him. I ain't picking him regardless. Even if I know Wilder gonna get his ass beat, I ain't picking no fucking Tyson Fury. But man, I hope Wilder win for real. So I want him to do the necessary things that he gotta do to do that. He gotta, like, you know what I'm saying, make sure his count 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do no fucking around this time, because not only fucking up the bag, but the legacy and your look, you know what I'm saying? And how you want to be portrayed out here, you know what I'm saying, these streets and shit, how you want to be portrayed. You gotta keep your rep. Your reputation means a lot. You can't just be out here just doing shit to sour down your reputation. You feel me? Wilder should be able to. I want him to hold that down, man. Hold down that king shit, like, for real. Because one thing we got in the world right now is a whole bunch of fake black pro motherfuckers who use that type of shit. That same type of shit is something to get further in whatever they doing. So to be able to, you know what I'm saying, make people stand. I mean, I want him to stand on that shit. Like, if he gonna play that role that he wrote, I ain't saying he faking it or nothing like that. I'm just saying, if he walking that walk that he talking like that, then I want him to, like, follow that path and do what he gotta do to finish that shit, ride that shit on out. But that's all I got, though. I wish the best for Wilder, for real, because I don't give a fuck about Tyson Fury, man. He ain't got. And another thing, I don't want nobody to say Tyson Fury is the king of the sport or no shit like that, because Tyson Fury can't sell out no motherfucking arena or nothing. Before Wilder, he sold 5,000 tickets, and before Wilder, he ain't did shit. People don't even know who he is. Only reason people know who he is because of Wilder. So don't care what he wins. He ain't the king of shit. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Because to be 100, the heavyweight division is weak as fuck. So it's only really Wilder and a couple of Luis Ortiz, probably Andy Ruiz, and fucking Tyson Fury. So it ain't like it's some deep division any fucking way. But Tyson Fury ain't the king of shit. You know what I'm saying? I wish the best for Wilder, man. I hope he do what he do.
That's what's up, man. So let's switch gears, man, and let's talk about this one, man, because I really want everybody's take on this. Ox, I'm gonna have you start off with Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. I feel like we gotta, touch up on Tank because, like I said, recently I've just been seeing that Tank has been speaking the right language. I see that Tank is living in the gym. He's doing everything that he's supposed to, and the commonality that I'm seeing with Tank is very reminiscent and similar with Adrian Broner. So definitely, that's why I want you to touch up on this, Ox, because there was a lot of people whose platforms made it their platform because they just basically shitted on Adrian Broner and his shortcomings, right? But Adrian Broner obviously didn't maximize his potential. Gervonta Tank Davis has bullshitted. He's had some issues outside of the boxing ring. But last time I checked, the motherfucker ain't got no loss yet. Last time I checked, he ain't been exposed. Last time I checked, ain't nobody put no L on that damn column. And what I'm noticing is there was always media attention that was contrived on disrespecting disrespecting or criticizing Gervonta Tank Davis. I mean, even recently, I've had to do a litany of videos on that and drop it. My boy Tom Ross did it. The real Marlo, I know he damn sure did it. Loyal to the Game Boxing Talk did it in the Facebook group. But we had to put respect on Gervonta Tank Davis's name because we're like, why are they trying to create dissension between Tank and Devion Haney? You could like Devion Haney for the reasons that you like Devion Haney, but you could also like Tank for the reasons that you like Tank. Like, why create a division amongst two brothers all because of what? Floyd Mayweather? That just didn't make no fucking sense to me. Because when it's all said and done, both brothers have pros and both brothers have cons, but they both bring something that's dynamic to the table. And then, Ox, I really want you to talk about Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson did some ultimate coon shit the other day that I didn't like. There was some fuck shit where he was basically advising Gervonta Tank Davis to not continue on with Floyd Mayweather and Mayweather Promotions, the promotions that got Gervonta Tank Davis where he's at. Oh, you need to leave Mayweather Promotions. I know the real Marlo seething over there. He got something to say on that. I know Loyal to the Game Boxing Talk heard about that shit. But when I watched the interview, I was repulsed by that. I'm like, if you're going to talk to Gervonta Tank Davis from one elder ex-black fighter to the current landscape, why not just fucking talk about just him being electric, him reminding you of him? Why does Mayweather have to be thrown into the fucking pot? And I didn't like that. I didn't like what I heard from that because that continuum shows me that there's still this issue and this divide amongst ex-black fighters and current black fighters, where ex-black fighters, they don't know how to step out of the spotlight, and then they want to, you know, always have some critique or always have some criticism on the current black fighter that's doing their thing. Just like Roy Jones Jr. with Earl Spence, just like, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard with Earl Spence when he said, I'm picking Mikey because his name is Mike. Who the fuck is Mikey Garcia? That one rubbed me the wrong way. Who the fuck is Mikey Garcia for you to say I'm picking him Mikey because he's Mikey? Like he's Roberto Duran. Are you having Roberto Duran hangovers? Is it because Roberto Duran whooped your ass? You thinking, oh, he's Mikey? No, it ain't that kind of fucking party over here. But see, the bottom line is I'm seeing this, and I really want you to talk about this because I feel like Gervonta Tank Davis is going to give us an emphatic performance. I have it picked. I have it predicted, Lord to the Game. I have it predicted, the real Marlo. I have it predicted, Oxsteel, that this is going to be pain, and more pain worse than what Gervonta Tank Davis did to Jose Pedraza. I think this is going to be a classic. I see Leo Santa Cruz losing 5 years off of his boxing career. So what's your take on this fight, Oxsteel, and how do you see the assessment of Gervonta Tank Davis, bro?
Well, you know, I'll tell you how I feel about it. Right now, I'm frying chicken, so I'm not pressed about nothing Mike Tyson said. You know, this is the thing about it. Mike Tyson ain't gotta like Floyd. Mike Tyson ain't gotta like Floyd. Mike Tyson can have his own opinions about whoever, however, whatever. You know, he's made a lot of mistakes, so you never know what things that Tyson may see or know about Floyd that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if Tyson sees a lot of himself in Tank. However the case may be, I'm not in favor of any brother, you know, screwing over any brother when it comes to business and money and their livelihood. You know what I'm saying? So whether Tank was with Floyd, I'm just glad that his handling is being done by people that look like him. And I hope that they're doing the best that they can for him. I'm glad that he's under Arum and Leonard Ellerby and Floyd, rather him being I'm glad he's with Al Haymon and Leonard Ellerby and Floyd rather than Arum or Matchroom Sports or somebody else. You know, so Tyson, he straddles the fence, and I think it's a lot because
look down real quick, Ox. Look down real quick.
You hear man say, "Yo, let me get that 2-piece."
Hey man, you know we got that ox fillet over here. You know what I'm saying? That ox fillet cracking over here. You know what I mean? And I got the mac and cheese cracking too. But hey, you know, back to what I was saying is just, you know, the only father figure that Tyson had was Ali, and you know, I noticed that, like I said, there's more. It could be more behind the scenes that we don't know about. Maybe Floyd smashed some of the chicks that Tyson may have been, you know, attracted to. We never know what it is. He may have lost money betting against Floyd. We don't know what it is. You know, that people can not even have a personal connection to Floyd and still be jealous of his bag and what he's done in the sports and the fact that he did it his way and he was smart enough not to let these people screw him over. You let Don King screw you over. You let different managers and different lawyers and different handlers screw you over your whole career. You're barely now, at 50 years old, and even now, unless other people getting a big piece of the pie, you still not seeing a bag independently on your own. There's people behind you pushing the Mike Tyson name in order for Mike Tyson to have the notoriety that he has. Mike Tyson is not interjecting himself in these business deals. There's just people that see the lucrativeness in his name and like, hey, man, let's get you cleaned up, man, so we can make some money type shit. So you can't even really put Floyd and Tyson in the same conversation. I think every man should have their own independence, but you got to understand something about every man. No man gets anywhere alone by himself. And the other man that don't look like you don't always have to be the one to help you get there. That's why I appreciate the Leonard Ellerbys of the world, because Floyd wouldn't have gotten where he gotten if Leonard Ellerby shifted him. You know what I mean? And it's good. Like people say, I want black people to stop saying that we don't work together and we don't stick together. The main people that say that never been to the military. The main people that say that, they're not a part of any black sorority or fraternity. The main people that say that, they don't belong to any lodge, whether it's Masonry, whether it's the Shrine, whether it's the Rotary Club, whether it's the Elks, whether it's the AMVETS, whether it's the Legion. They don't belong to anything or even know these outlets where black people really are together handling their business. Me, I'm a member of a Masonic lodge, and the Masonic black roots, the Prince Hall roots, go back years, decades, over 100 years, of brothers all around the world, not all around the world, but mainly in the continental U.S. that been networking and functioning with one another since day one. So there's groups of brothers and sisters out there that have been working together that do stick to a code. And I'm not saying that you got to be Masonic or anything like that for you to work together, but I'm saying in general, there are outlets and groups of black folks that do work together. And I love seeing black folks work together. And unless Leonard Ellerby and Floyd have really tooled Gervonta Tank Davis with the tools he needs to be independent as a businessman, it would be wrong to send him out there with no guidance anyway. Right. But what you definitely don't want is someone that don't look like him, that don't identify with him, that's not where he's from, trying to advocate for him to make. You can't tell me that someone that looks or comes from a different origin than you has your best interests in mind. And so my thing is this. Floyd, he disrespected Ali. That was the only father figure that Tyson ever knew. You know what I'm saying? Tyson has this thing about him, like Tom Ross had brought up. He emulates who he looks up to and who he's around. So if you disrespect anybody that supposedly fed the mouth of Tyson have a problem with that. I feel like the best is yet to come for Tank, and Tank should expect all of this. That's one thing that you know about Tank. One thing that should let you know Tank is on the right path is you got people trying to sway his path. When people just let you go through and do whatever and they don't have nothing to say, you're probably not doing that good of a job because they probably count on you to fail anyway. But when a lot of people have all these different opinions about what you should be doing and how you should be doing it, you must be doing something right. Everybody feel like they could do what you have done better than what you didn't. So all Tank have to do is stay focused. He does have to develop his own business mindset, but I believe he's in front of some great mentors that will allow him to cultivate that skill set, because business is a skill set. Business is almost like a trade. It's a craft. It's something that you constantly have to work at. Business is not something that you just pick up and learn and it stays the same. Business evolves every day, just like technology does. They say technology advances 20 years every 2 years. And business evolves probably quicker than that. A business model can flip. The algorithm for a business model can flip within a fraction of an eye. You never know what's going to happen. So Tank is where he needs to be mentored properly. And it's good that he's talking to Tyson because they could identify on different notes. It don't have to be about Floyd. But you have to look at Tyson's rise and descent and rise again and ask yourself, why is he saying this to me? You can learn from a baby. You can learn from a dope head. You can learn from a junkie. You know, you should take some jewels or, you know, take something of what he's saying. And even if you don't apply it, you should definitely compartmentalize it and store it for later, because it may be a reason why you have to store some information, you know, for later coming from a person like that. You know, like I said before in another podcast, Tyson is that uncle that be drunk or high most of the time. And you can't really put a whole lot into what he's saying, but you still got to listen to him anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know, like I said, when it may come back. So, you know, I think Floyd and Leonard Ellaby have good intentions, you know, for Tank. And like I said, I wish Tank nothing but the best, you know, but he's definitely on the right path. As far as this fight, you know, Leo Santa Cruz is a formidable opponent on paper because of what he's done, punch stat wise, what he's done in the sport so far. But Tank in shape and focused, we're talking about a whole different animal. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a whole different outcome. We're talking about a whole different animal here. And we have to respect that, respect the precision focus of this. You know, he showed up overweight a few times. He's lost money. He's lost the belt. People are talking. People are, you know, trying to pit him against this person and that person. All he really wanted was precision focus on his career from the person that's not only mentoring him, but also guiding him through business also. And Tank kind of low-key has like some daddy issues as well. And I felt like he took that training with Haney a little bit too serious. That's some daddy issues leaking out. That's some endearment issues leaking out because, and it happens when you're a young man, you know, especially when you're trying to find your own identity. And I hope through all of this, I hope Tank is finding his identity. It's the reason why legends are trying to guide your career. Ain't no legends really trying to super guide these other people's career, you know. It ain't no people, you know, calling these other guys on FaceTime and trying to see what's inside their mind and see what's inside their heart, you know. So it's a reason for all of that. It's a reason for all of that. And what I like to really focus more so on is when Tank is focused, what can stop him? Mm-hmm. But I hope that this trend carries on. I hope this is not just for this fight. I hope he stays in shape from this fight into the next fight and get another fight. One thing that Tyson told him, like, yo, I fought 15 times in 1 year, bro. So that was, I mean, we want to talk on what he said about Floyd, but that's kind of like a little bug in your ear. Hey, maybe you need to push Floyd and Leonard more to help you fight more. You can do anything that you set your mind to. If you think you can't fight 15 times a year, then no, you can't do it. But whatever you really put your mind to, you can do. I guess Tyson gave him another gym and told him there was a fighter in the 20s that fought 36 times in 1 year. You know, when we talk about the Sugar Ray Robinsons of the world, Sugar Ray Robinson was fighting a couple times a month, sick with the flu. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it's really about all of that shit is in your mind. They didn't have the supplements and the technology and stuff that we have right now, but it was the warrior spirit and his mindset that allowed him to do that. Now, moving along to another topic, when we talk about these legendary fighters, Hayden and Coonan and stuff like that, Sugar Ray Leonard, don't let that smooth baby face fool you. That's also another dope head junkie. Mm-hmm. That's also another dope head junkie. So his mindset, don't let that smile, that nice, perfect smile on that baby face fool you. He admitted on the Tyson boxing podcast that, or Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, that he was on that coke heavy. And I keep trying to tell folks, there's no molecular difference between crack and coke. It's the same thing. It still hits you the same kind of way. You know, still hits you the same way. It's still it's a stimulant. It is what it is. A dope head is a dope head. And it's like when you got these old junkies speaking on these young brothers, you know what I'm saying? This hate and stuff like that, and this discontent start coming out, you can't even really put much validity behind that. You know what I'm saying? How many dope heads and alcoholics and shit like that sat up and hated on you or what you was trying to do when you went to college or went to the military, or you finally went ahead and bossed up and got that job. You finally bossed up and got that car. You finally bossed up and moved to the other side of town and stuff like that, or you moved out of state. How many dope head uncles and cousins and shit like that have something negative to say, but they still gonna ask you for $1 though? I guarantee you Tyson asked for a seat at the fight. I guarantee you, Sugar Ray Robinson gonna ask for a fight. Sugar Ray Leonard gonna ask for a fight, seat at the fight. They'll criticize, but they gonna show their ass up though. And so you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt, But they need to do better than that. You need to stop hating, because when you was in your prime and you was messing up and fucking up, who hated on you like that? You had the whole culture riding behind you. And like I said, black folks need to stop doing that. We can be critical of one another. We can criticize one another constructively. You know what I'm saying? And it's about how you stand as a man. Like, you can tell me a million things that you don't like about me, and I don't take that as disrespect. Your opinion is your opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that got to look at myself in the mirror. But I may take something that you say and use it as a weapon to help sharpen myself. And it's really about the kind of mentality that you have. But Floyd is doing a good job with Tank, not letting him get raggle rock through the damn sport. I want Shakur Stevenson to come over to the Al Haymon side of the table and get away from Top Rank and Bob Arum and them. I wish that your boy Andre Ward would have came and did some more business with Bob Arum, not Bob Arum, but with Al Haymon. With Tyson, man, Tyson can share some jewels with Tank. I think there's some methodology that he could give Tank to make him even more vicious than what he is. And it's like, I'm actually in fear for Leo Santa Cruz. But I like the way that he's being cocky and arrogant, a little bit of false bravado, a little bit of, he's also feeling himself too. He is a champion also, so he's supposed to feel himself. But as far as athletic goes, I say this in a simple manner. Who would win in the game of 21, Leo Santa Cruz or Gervonta Tank Davis? That's going to tell you the outcome of that fight. If Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz was lined up playing DB and wide receiver, and you had somebody throwing the ball to them, who you think gonna score? So what that tell you about the outcome of that fight? You know what I mean? So that's really all I got on that topic, man. Shout out to Tank, shout out to Tyson, shout out to Floyd, shout out to Leonard Ellaby, shout out to Dopehead, Sugar Ray Leonard ass, hating ass, man. Like, get that hate off your mind, man, and support your young folks, man. Support the young people of the sport, man. Stop sitting up here, hating on these people because you see something in them that you didn't see in yourself. It's their time, it's their turn, and we need that support. We need that unanimous support. You want to go for a fighter just because his name is Mikey, man, listen, bro. Take them coon boots off and quit playing, bro. Don't play with our culture like that, man. Everybody is already against us. And then when we have people that are so-called legends in our sport that do shit like that, it makes things a lot more difficult for our rise. Let's start giving unanimous support to our fighter, whether we like him or not. I'm going to support Crawford, whether I like his business posturing or not. Like I say every time, I support him and I respect him just because, he's a good father. He's a good father. He's a good family man. He's a good husband. I just wish that his business affairs were in order. You can't sit up here and say someone is ducking you when your business is not right. It doesn't make logical sense. So I gotta take a demerit away on that. You know what I mean? Because your business ain't right for you to even be wolfing the way that you're wolfing. No one is afraid of you. You put yourself in a box where you can't fight certain fighters. So how is someone ducking you? How are you a boogeyman when you hit yourself? You hit yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. That's all I got on that one. Check on this chick.
And boxing talk.
Yeah, two-piece.
What you gotta say on the topic, man?
I was waiting for us to tag me in on this one, man. First thing, so I have a little bias to Mike Tyson, but I can keep it real with the situation. But I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm from Brooklyn. So I'm an '80s baby. So Mike Tyson was what was popping back then in boxing, So I mean, I believe I read Mike Tyson's biography before I read Martin Luther King's biography. So there's always going to be that connection with me with Mike. However, him getting in Tank's business affairs is just wrong, And regardless if we know that Mike Tyson idolized Muhammad Ali. He always showed him the utmost respect and all that. And if he felt Floyd disrespected Ali in any way, which I've never heard Floyd disrespect Ali. He just brought up facts, and Floyd puts himself in that high esteem of being the best ever in the sport of boxing. So his peer, rightfully so, in his conversation with himself is going to be a Muhammad Ali, because that's who is known as the greatest of all time, or the GOAT. Where I technically feel like Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest of all time, just based off of what Mike Tyson was talking about with how many times these guys fought in a month, in a year. And this guy also had skills, and he could do it all, and he had power. So, but everyone serves a purpose. You know, like Muhammad Ali was a huge icon for Black America, you know, at the time that he was the champ of the world. And he had a whole story. Now, that part, yes, he's the greatest of all time. He earns that moniker. However, when we look at the stats and the pure skills and how one fighter dominated another fighter, even if it's not exciting to you, where Floyd's not knocking people out, Floyd made other champions look ordinary. He made them look, you can say what you want. Oh, look, Pacquiao just beat Thurman, and everyone was saying, oh, Floyd was ducking Thurman. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, and look what Floyd did to Pacquiao. It was horrible. I mean, Pacquiao had like 2 moments in the entire fight. So, you know, I mean, just look at what he's done. So he has a right to say these things. I mean, he didn't get knocked out by Buster Douglas. You know, he when he was tested in those moments, we talk about those moments when he was cracked by Mosley. How did he respond to that?
Right hand leads.
Hey, you know that you it cracks me up when you hear these boxing fans say that, oh, this guy's he's scared, he's a ducker, he's a runner. A ducker and a runner would not be able to respond to a situation like that in the ring, because they say in boxing, your soul gets buried in that ring, you know. And Floyd was always in tip-top shape. He was able to recover. He's able to change up his game plan, box a completely different way, and was just like, it was a blowout. So Floyd Mayweather, we know he's narcissistic. You know, I believe he's a person who genuinely feels alone. He just has a lot of people around him, but I don't feel like he feels connected to people.
I agree with that.
That's what I see. So, and that's part of who he is, and part of, I'd say, the deal he made to be who he is. But that's another topic. Okay. However, Floyd Mayweather also genuinely is a good person, and you can tell just from how him and 50 Cent went their own separate ways, because 50 wanted him to leave Al Haymon, because that's where they beef came from. People don't really understand that. When Floyd went to jail, you know, 50 was there, and 50 was writing him. They was all trying to get this big deal for him when he gets out of jail, and 50 finds another rich guy investor who's ready to put hundreds of millions of dollars together in a package for Floyd, and he's like, let's do all this business and let's do all this together and tie it up, and we're gonna go this way. And Floyd looked back and said, no, I ain't doing that shit, because Al always been right with me. I never had to worry about my money. You know, I never had to worry about any things. I'm taking run that comment back. Who was that? You just had a comment. Put that back up. I want to address that. Tyrone Spencer. Floyd is not an Ali. Absolutely not. You're correct. He's Floyd Mayweather. That's the difference. But if we want to talk about levels of being just a pure fighter and boxer, yeah, he is. I mean, Ali, I'm not saying wins and losses are everything, where a fighter can't have a loss and Floyd is undefeated and Ali had losses. But what I'm saying is, anytime Floyd was tested with a guy who was supposed to be that guy to give him a fight and push him, the fights didn't look like Ali versus Frazier and Manila and Gorilla and all that stuff. It was like, nigga, I'm better than you. It's hit and I get hit. You can't hit me. And guess what? If my hands aren't strong enough to knock anyone out, then why y'all can't come get me and knock me out? You feel me? And it happened time after time again. And because Floyd makes it he makes it easy to not like him by things he did outside of the ring and things that he would say, and then to not back it up in the ring in terms of mauling or knocking a person out. It's easy to say, well, he ain't this person. But hey, if we just taking a look at pure skills as a boxer, tell me who got better all around skills than Floyd Mayweather. I'll wait. I will wait. Tell me.
You can't find one.
Okay, next. So we can put those two in the same stratosphere, but they just serve different purposes. And Ali's purpose was more for something to connect with Black people and to give them a voice, and to show us a direction in the times that we were dealing with, and we're still dealing with. Floyd, on the other hand, he's not political at all. But if we're just saying skill in the ring, it's kind of hard to say there's 2 or 3 people who have better pure all around skills than Floyd Mayweather. Point blank, period. So he gets to make that argument, especially when he also revolutionized the sport by how he even changed the business of the sport and how these young fighters are able to make the money that they're able to make right now. And when you're able to take that and then have that guy genuinely see, here's the thing with Tank. He's not Al Haymon didn't rob Floyd. Floyd got enough money. Floyd not looking to rob Tank. But Floyd is looking to be like Diddy and jump all in the camera, and talk about everything about this and that and the other. And that's what you're gonna get with Floyd. That's who he is as a person. And it can't rub you the wrong way. I mean, Tyrone Spence, you said Pernell Whitaker. You could put Pernell Whitaker in the conversation, but I remember Floyd Mayweather doing an interview where he didn't leak too much out, and he spoke about when he was 17 and he sparred Pernell Whitaker. And all the people who was around, no one seemed like he was lying when he made it seem like, hey, I could beat all these pros at that age. But but you know what? Everyone is entitled to their style of who they like better for what reason. So I'm not arguing just to say he's that, like, Tyrone Spencer, you're wrong. That's not what I'm saying, because for me, that's not what it's about. It's just that I just like to match things in terms of real perspective. If you just take a look at Floyd inside the ring, it's very hard to say that anyone had this better skills that he did, and an IQ, and the fact that he was always in shape. He was always in ready mode and go mode, and that's the only problem that I had with Tank Davis. See, that's the only problem, because I like Tank Davis. I understand the struggle, parents being on drugs. I have a very similar situation to a lot of stuff he went through growing up. So I could connect with that, and I like Tank Davis. And I think Tank Davis, not in a disrespectful way, but we're talking about business. Tank Davis doesn't seem like he's like the most business savvy guy who's gonna go out and people aren't gonna take a look at him and take advantage of him in business, when that's what the culture is in that game, where boxing's not really regulated. It doesn't have any real type of commission. So I look at Tank, and I'm happy that he's with Mayweather, but I feel like he has to do better by himself in between camps. He has to do better, because okay, I understand we got to say about Leo Santa Cruz, but Leo Santa Cruz is not in camp trying to get rid of weight. He's working on strategy. And this guy is a guy who has big fight experience. So if Tank is gonna get slow like he did against Gamboa his last fight and start to slow down, and you got this guy Leo Santa Cruz all fight, he's been all fight, he's just throwing punches. If Tank doesn't get him out of there, which he should be able to, I mean, Leo can win a decision based on the amount of activity he has, just based off of that and experience of being in big fights. Because look, he fought Frampton, he lost, he came back, changed his game plan, and won a much easier fight. So this guy he has fight experience. If we're only looking at physical, you're making me rethink things. if you're only looking at physical, then Tank should blow him out the water. You know, if we're only looking at that, but you have to take a look at actual situations with the matchup that's happening. Tank's like he's losing. He's trying to go. He's focused more on I gotta lose weight. I gotta lose weight. I gotta lose weight. I gotta stay sharp. I gotta lose weight. I gotta stay sharp. I gotta lose weight. And Leo Santa Cruz is more like this is what his camp's like saying. This is what Tank does. This is his dad died. He's probably super emotional, want to dedicate the fight, all this stuff. So you have to take a look at just the whole situation on everything. And I think it's going to be a great fight. Now, I do at times have an issue with Tank fighting guys who are smaller. You know, if he's up to 35 and this guy's at 26, and, you know, I do have an issue with that. However, that's the business. Floyd has to, I mean, you see any other, we saw Raleigh trash ass the other week. You see any other Mayweather promotion guys out there making money for Mayweather promotion as fighters? So Floyd and Leonard Ellerby are being strategic on what they do with Tank. And quiet as kept, I like to always bring this point up because I'm always firing my shot because that's just what happens over the Lord of the Game boxing. If we want to be honest, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is doing a better job with Tank Davis' career than Bob Arum is currently doing with Bud Crawford's career. Tank's fighting pay-per-view. Tank loses his belt on the scale, he gets another belt. Again. And then we got to slide you back to this weight class and get you a belt. We'll do that, and we'll do that again. You know, and then we'll put you in the right venue in Atlanta. So you sell and Shaq is showing up and shit. Okay, I digress. Because you know that's just what we do in my chat. So when these things pop up to me, I have to just share them. So I'm happy with Tank, but I think as Real Marlo said, is he gonna now? If he wins this fight, is now he going to be dedicated to the game? Because you in pay-per-view. You know, like now you're pay-per-view, and to just do a quick Bob chosen. Hold on 1 second. Bob Arum was chosen so he could. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Tom Ross TV. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. But you know what? Tank Davis has to make sure he stays in shape and takes it more serious. And Mayweather had an issue with him in the beginning because Mayweather wanted him to move to Vegas. Mayweather already, he lived it and he saw it. Like, this is what you do. Like this is what you do. You come here to Vegas and make you a star, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think maybe Tank at that time could see that. Just coming from, you know, where he came from. And his people were still there. You love your people and all of that. And you get it. And that's the difference between Floyd and everybody else. That he just cared about the money. So if that's what he got to do to get the money, that's what he gonna do. But Tank at this point forward has to stay in shape in between fights. At this point forward, because the competition is going to get very stiff for him. And at some point, if a guy like him and Devion Haney meet up in the future, and every time you're looking at Devion Haney, all he's doing is working out and working, and you're constantly doing this type of thing, it all shows up in the ring at some point. So I got Tank winning the fight with a stoppage just because I got love for Tank and what's going on in his situation. And when we go to Mike Tyson, I'm always going to have love for Mike Tyson, but I feel like you don't mix business and personal, because when you start telling Tank what to do in business based off of how you feel personally towards someone else, then that's crossing the line. And I also feel like if it was in reverse, and that's the thing I don't like about black people at times, is that would Mike Tyson have come out and said that if Bob Arum was running Tank Davis, would he do it towards a white business owner promoter? Because they'll slap some legal shit on you quick. Oh, you're tampering. They'll do that. But when it comes to when it comes to your own, it's just always easy for you to say, I don't do that for him, or don't, just no level of respect. So Mike Tyson to me crossed the line from that standpoint. But I feel like also in that interview, he did give a lot of good jewels and some things for Tank to marinate on. And even though he may have said what he said, it still does more great promotion for Tank Davis, because they already compare him to Mike Tyson. Now they on social media doing a call. He's going into a pay-per-view. It all works for Floyd. Floyd could care less. It all works, So I'm excited to see how the fight turns out. Like I said, I got Tank with a stoppage. And like I said, I just need Tank to be more consistent, more disciplined going forward, and sky's the limit for him.
The real Marlo, man. I know you got a lot to say about Gervonta Tank Davis. I think the real Marlo has been the other 100% staunch supporter of Tank Davis, dog. When all else failed and everybody was railing on Tank Davis, outside of myself, I know the real Marlo's been keeping on the damn.
I fuck with Tank. I fuck with Tank, man.
Yeah, and I can see everybody else on the panel is giving fair criticism, and rightfully so. It's deserving, because Tank Davis has been doing some fuck shit outside of the ring, but it's just the bottom line of like lower to the game boxing talk, and I know real Marlo's gonna talk about it. Tank is that dude for a reason. And let's not forget, Ryan Garcia said that Tank Davis is the biggest draw inside and the biggest draw outside of the ring at the lightweight division. There was a reason why he said that. So the real Marlo, what's your take, bro, on this topic, man?
So look, y'all, everybody said some real shit, man. Everybody said some real shit. They did. But listen, man, one thing see, me and Tank probably like the same age. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that. I don't know if they can tell or what, but me and Tank like the same age. And one thing about a young nigga is when you coming up real fast, you gotta fuck up just to get right. You gotta keep fucking up. A nigga, an old nigga can tell you what to do 1,000 fucking times. Right? But until you start, you got. That's how you turn from a BG to an OG. You gotta like keep fucking it up. You gotta fuck the sack up 100 times just to get it right. And when you put it right, that could be the shot. That's when you go up. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So Tank been doing a lot of fucking up, but what he doing is, if you look at it from another light, is gaining experience. He gaining experience not only with this boxing shit, but mostly like outside the ring on how to keep balance, because these other guys is coming up slow. You know what I'm saying? They coming up slow. It's a different when you coming up slow and when you coming up fast, light speed, when you moving quick. You know what I'm saying? You get into it fast. So he ringing bells so hard that it's hard to like balance the two. You know what I'm saying? The real life and the boxing. But now once you find your rhythm, that's what make you a monster, and that's what he heading into, man. He just got to go through the trials and tribulations of this shit, because ain't shit in life easy, But at the same time, there ain't no excuse for Tank or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who hard on him, you know what I'm saying, is rightfully so. That niggas need that shit too. But at the same time, a nigga like Tyson is good to hurt, but at the same time, you gotta keep him like arm length, because y'all are on two different. You gotta learn for yourself. Just because he tell you don't mean you just gonna pick up on it just like that. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson. See, you got old niggas and you got OGs. You know what I'm saying? An old nigga is just a nigga who is up in age, who basically telling you shit that you can't really like put into play. But an OG is somebody who already been there and they want you to do good. So I don't know with Tyson, man, because he said that shit about Floyd. I think he got something against Floyd. You know what I'm saying? He got something against Floyd. You know what I'm saying? You can say he a hater or what. I don't really know. I don't really want to get them niggas business, but he got something against Floyd for sure.
Tank already know.
Tank already know that. Yeah, he already know. So it probably went out one ear out the other. And then another thing about Tank, man, he's smarter than what a lot of people think. You know, for him to even be able to market himself like he market, like when he beat up Ivan Redcat, to take that video to put that on Instagram is just straight promotion, bro. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because the older dude would be like, you know what I'm saying? Older boxer would tell you like, man, we don't talk about sparring, man. Fuck that either. New Day, y'all ain't have
Right.
meetings. It's the New Days. You know what I'm saying? Put that shit out there. He beat the shit out of Ivan Redcat. People people on Instagram and social media would get hyped up about you hitting the pads, bro. Hitting the pads. That create hype. Like all that type of different stuff, man, is just marketing. And he putting that out there, man. I like how he coming up because he is doing a lot of bullshit, but he learning at the same time. And when he
real quick, Marlo, real quick, what did you think about that sparring session and seeing what? Because I was at the Danny Garcia Redcat fight. I was there. I was underwhelmed by Danny Garcia. I was like, he's very limited. And when Spence says he has one gear, I saw it. I was like, oh wow, like he really do. He really do.
That's why Errol gonna beat the shit out of Danny, because Danny, he couldn't get out of Redcat out of there.
And that's what I'm trying to say. People are like, oh, he's this power puncher at 147, but Tank had this guy stumbling out the ring, and they had on bigger gloves and headgear.
Exactly, and that tells you a lot that Danny is at his limit. He already reached his limit at 147. You know what I'm saying? That's why he ain't gonna be able to hang with Spence regardless of the pop he got on his punches, because it's gonna be point in a fight where Errol won on Danny and it's gonna be to a point where he didn't land it so much on Danny. Danny ain't gonna have that same steam that he got on his punches early in the fight, later on in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Ivan Redcat would start eating that shit, and he would land the left hand to the body. You know what I'm saying? He was doing everything. You know what I'm saying? He finally got comfortable in the later half of the fight, but he should have been did that. He was too late. But Danny is about to get finished, bro. He about to get finished. But yeah, back with Tank. I mean, always got hyped up on that. No, but back on the Tank shit, man. Tank, man, my problem with I had like similar thing going on, you know what I'm saying, with like older guys. They try to like kind of like try to shit on you, you know what I'm saying, because they see how old you is and they compare themselves from when, you know what I'm saying, they was your age and how you is now. Like how Andre Ward kind of like, I don't like how he came off with Tank, because he kind of like tried to shit on him and try to play Devion Haney against Tank, kind of like, man, I like what he doing, such, but fuck that. You know what I'm saying? It's just some little hating shit going on, man. And Tank, from a young dude perspective, he like, man, where I'm at in my career and when you was at your career, I'm shitting on you. And that's how a young nigga think. Like, they be like, man, when you was my age, you weren't doing this, bro. You weren't doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Tank think when them dudes be coming after him like that. But, you know what I'm saying? Because Tank he got a lot of clout, man, and his pay-per-view about to be successful. You know, because he got like the whole urban community. He got a lot of the urban. Because some dudes got it and some dudes ain't got it. Because a lot of niggas be pumping up Devion Haney, but Devion Haney, he ain't got it like Tank.
Like Tank, you know? Right? Yeah.
He ain't got it like that.
That's true.
As much people keep coming to force that nigga down your throat, you shouldn't have to force him down your throat, because he should already have that shit. He ain't got it.
And that's why I brought up the point about I like what Mayweather's doing with Tank, because I don't feel Tank would be maximized like this if he was anywhere else. If he was if he went to the zone and they gave him a whole bunch of money, because they just did that with Haney, don't know what to do. You feel me?
Right.
Let's not even talk about low rank, over there. We also
gotta give Leonard Ellaby credit, because Leonard Ellaby fights fighters, man. He fights on their behalf. He was the one that was right there in the Marcos Maidana fight, making sure that glove didn't have all that fucking weird shit going on, making sure that it wasn't no Tyson Fury. Leonard Ellaby gets the biggest credit part of the Mayweather promotion because he is a highly intellectual dude. I know people want to get caught up on niggas' noses and shit like that, but to me, the dude is highly intellectual. He has a great capacity. Shit, Badu, Jack, his
Yeah, look what
career,
they did with him. Yeah.
way that it would have been moved if he wasn't with Mayweather Promotions. So you got to give Floyd credit, but you also got to give Leonard Ellaby credit because Leonard Ellaby always fights on behalf of these fighters, and he promoted Gervonta Tank Davis well. Every time Leonard Ellaby talked, box office, superstar.
Always. Yep.
These terminologies, these art of reciprocations, they help Gervonta Tank Davis get to the next level because when Leonard Ellaby speaks, it's kind of like that. You know how you got that narrator type of voice, and you got that voice that could say something, and eventually it says it enough to where it sticks. That's how Leonard Ellaby is, man. He makes things seem more than what they are. But with Tank had the skills to justify that. And I felt like Leonard Ellaby, Floyd Mayweather Promotions, that everybody was saying, oh, remember back then Mayweather Promotions ain't shit. They make him moves. And if Devion Haney is smart, and I've said this a long time ago, I hear the Al Haymon, but I would like to see Devion Haney check his fucking father because his father's been fucking up and fall his ass up on the Mayweather Promotion because his dad is not no damn trainer by no long stretch of the imagination. When I heard him say, fight like Roy Jones, what the fuck was that? And he damn sure ain't no manager because this back and forth between Gary Russell and Devion Haney ain't just a Gary Russell problem. That's a Devion Haney not checking his father's problem because Devion Haney actually wants to fucking fight.
Yeah.
But because his dad keep doing all this weird Cucamonga shit, that shit is fucking up the fight. It ain't allowing the fight to happen.
Yeah, he's been. Go ahead, Romello.
Bill Haney is a fucking politician, bro. He a politician. That nigga is trying to win over every single body. Everybody vote from different channels. How about this channel? How about this channel? How about you trying to win over niggas votes? So when Gary Russell gets to talking, niggas don't believe him. But I believe Gary Russell because I know them niggas lying like a motherfucker, man. Bill Haney don't want that fucking fight. And Gary Russell would. I don't give a fuck. Gary Russell will fuck up Devion Haney, man, because Devion Haney is a whole bunch of athleticism. He like 70% athleticism, 30% skills. Gary Russell, man, got a lot of skills, and he got a little brother. I've been doing my background check on name Antoine Russell, Gary Antoine Russell. He at 140. He'll beat the shit out of Devion Haney, bro. Straight fundamentals, straight. I'm talking about these dudes can do everything. They daddy is a true coach. Bill Haney and them been sending Devion Haney to fucking Roy Jones Jr. too much. That's why he do all that dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? In the ring, he been fucking around Roy Jones Jr. too much. You can't jump from fucking Roy Jones Jr. to Floyd Mayweather. Like there's too much flopping around. He ain't where's his identity, but who the fuck is his coach? You feel me? He doing too much flopping around in between styles. He do that weak ass Philly shell. That shit look weak as fuck when he do it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even trying to knock Devion Haney, but this just real shit, man. Devion Haney ain't fucking with Tank. He ain't even fucking with Shakur Stevenson, which is the most fundamentally sound. It is. You know what I'm saying? Around. But you know what I'm saying? All it's gonna take is for an aggressive fighter to fight Devion Haney to expose his ass. Aggressive fighter that he
Real Marlo. You said that shit that you said with Alfredo Santiago. I'm gonna let you finish that last point, Real Marlo. That fight pissed me the hell off, and it showed me something about Devion Haney I did not like. I know Ox went back and did film study on that shit. I know Loyal to the Game Boxing did it, and I know me and you we did a litany of videos on that shit. He was getting hit too many counter punching shots that I'm like, shit. If the competition level steps up, the only thing that's why I'm glad you said that. The only thing Devion Haney has at this point is skills. This is why if I'm Devion Haney, I fire Bill Haney as a fucking trainer manager. I fall my ass up under the Mayweather. Every time you keep hearing me say that shit in the video, I'm gonna keep saying that shit so I can be crispier than a fucking 3-piece that Ox just fucked up. So I can be crispier than that shit. Because if he
just see how he went into,
he's gonna be crispy, dog. He gonna be crispy in the ring. Go ahead, Oxy. I mean, go ahead, Real Marlo. You had that finishing point that you were saying. My bad, bro. I say that shit.
Devion Haney, I'm telling you, they moving him right. They moving him right. They saying that Gary Russell ducking him, but he already had the fight almost finalized with Gamboa. You know what I'm saying? They sent the niggas the term sheet, but the term sheet ain't had no fucking names on it, no date on it, no venue, and it wasn't no paper. So Dazza ain't got no fucking money. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes finna go bankrupt. How the hell they don't want to fight? So they commented in the chat and said this fight on, but then sent the bullshit term sheet. Come on, man. They too busy chasing after Tank and what he got going on for them to even want Gary. They don't give a fuck about Gary. They trying to fight Gamboa, so hopefully he can beat the shit out of Gamboa worse than Tank beat him, and they got something to say. But they ain't tripping on no Gary. They chasing after Tank, bro. They want what that dude got. You know what I'm saying?
I think you know what you bring up. Let's talk a little bit about Bill Haney. He just kind of always rubbed me wrong.
Bill Diddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I saw, and I don't know all the details behind it, but the first time he had Devion Haney leave Floyd Mayweather Sr. from training him, I was like, what the fuck is like? Floyd's an alpha. It seems like Bill Haney's an alpha. But you gotta let the ego go, because to be quite honest, the best Devion Haney has ever looked in the ring is all based off the shit we saw Floyd Mayweather Sr. training him and doing, hitting the pads, moving, all of that stuff. That's senior. So I just look at the bigger picture. Like, this is very corny, because I would have thought out of loyalty, and I know there's, business is business or whatever. But I would have thought that Haney would have went that route, just based on how much was invested into Devion Haney. He was in the Mayweather Boxing Club training all the time. He was popular based upon being out of that gym and everything like that. And they invested themselves into Devion Haney. And I know it's, there's time to move, but he hasn't done anything in his career yet to warrant for something to happen for them to have split from the whole Mayweather banner over there. And quiet as kept, maybe he went for the guaranteed money, because the zone was just throwing the money out there. But you have to have wise people around you. The business people you keep around you have to be wise. It have to be wise, not just like a hustler. They have to have wisdom, because the same thing almost happened to Errol Spence. And Errol Spence said his dad told him to go with Haymon because that's going to be better for your career going on in the future. As he said, they was throwing bags at him, So now you take a look at Devion Haney. Now you over here with the zone, and they're going bankrupt, basically. Your fight is, in terms of the amount of revenue it takes to create a fight like that, it's not really big. They in court with Canelo with the big money, So their situation probably isn't all that great over there as it is. So it makes sense that they're trying to chase after Tank, but you wouldn't have had to chase after Tank maybe if somebody's ego was checked a lot earlier in your career. You probably would have still been over there, promoted the correct way, a build-up for you and Tank to fight on that card. And you know what? People could be upset, but the reality is, in this day and age in boxing, there are sides of the street when it comes to business. It just is. It doesn't matter if us as the fans say we want the fights and we want this to happen. We want these two guys to just fight. Well, suppose they really do want to fight, and they want to fight right now outside. But they don't get paid for that, and they don't pay themselves. So I just look at the whole Devion Haney situation and say, Devion Haney, I feel, is a very, very skilled fighter, entirely skilled, but we don't know what he's made of yet based on the people he's fighting. we don't know how he's gonna deal with adversity, how he's gonna be checked. We just don't know. Salute to Contender Regime Boxing. I follow your channel too, man. Salute to you. Yeah.
Salute to Contender Boxing.
Yeah. So we don't know yet what Devion Haney is really made of, and just from the outside looking in, a lot of times you don't really need the particulars on a situation, but you can look at a situation and see how people are moving. And I don't know, just from the outside, I just feel like something about Bill Haney just don't rub me right, which is how he doing stuff. It just, something's just a little off, but that's your dad, he's the one who's invested. He's your day one. So, it just is what it is. So hopefully we can see a fight with him and Gary Russell Jr. I do believe that the assessment of calling him a politician was right on point, though, because he is lobbying, and it's really smart. He is lobbying for the social media channels, the black LDBC and the social media channels, to be on his side and to promote his son and to make the buzz big. I feel like Gary Russell Jr. most likely was telling the truth about the contract, because they already had the Gamboa fight thing going on. Who knows? Because when they were stating, on camera, like their names are on a term sheet, that might not have been the term sheet that they actually sent. That could just be the one they have for the camera. I mean, this is how people promote stuff. We don't know, because it doesn't make sense that the Russell's brother would be saying that it's not on there on camera if it was actually on there when he saw it. So the whole situation to me just seemed a little fishy. But we will know if they really want to fight if after Haney beats Gamboa, which he's doing a let me beat Gamboa better than Tank beat Gamboa kind of thing. Let's see if they really actually take the fight with Gary Russell Jr., because I agree with the real Marlo on the Gary Russell. Gary Russell could fucking fight. Gary Russell could fight. He's gonna be tested in that fight. And Gary Russell has fight experience, and we just gonna have to see Devion Haney.
I said Tom Ross. Ox Steel, man, because I'm dealing with Tom Ross's comment. Matter of fact, let me just say this: Bill Haney is a narcissist. Bill Haney.
Can y'all hear me?
Bill Haney is a narcissist. Let me pull the comment up, and then Ox, you got the floor. He just wants to credit his sons for success. This is why he'd rather go away from black boxing promoter. That's right. Ox, man, what's your take on the whole Gary Russell, Devion Haney situation based on everything that's been chopped up here, bro?
I've been seeing a lot of back and forth. I've seen how Devion Haney has been posting on his social media. Gary Russell Jr. didn't want to. He didn't want to take the fight. They offered him $1.5 million, and he didn't want to sign it. So there's a lot more behind the scenes that all of us aren't really aware of. But I know the money was sounding right. The money, $1.5 million. I don't know what his purses have been prior to that, but I know he hasn't seen $1.5 million so far in his career. So I don't know what's the real reason why they cannot make the fight happen. Like I said, if these Haney brothers if this Haney camp if they're the ones that are really actually fraudulent in this situation, but they're trying to deceive the people into thinking that Gary Russell Jr. is scared. If they really offered that man that money and he didn't want it, that say a lot about Gary Russell Jr. I think it's low hanging fruit to put it out there that, okay, I offered the man $1.5 million, he didn't want it, he's scared, he ducking. He's calling him Mr. Cap and all this and that, but I just kind of feel like it's more to the story than that. However, both sides of the table are, kind of schoolgirlish with how they are going back and forth about the matter. Let the lawyers do the talking, put forth a real actual contract with real stipulations or whatever the case may be, and make the fight happen. If you're not, let's move on to something else. I felt like it was a stupid idea for Haney to ever even get out with DAZN. Ain't nobody paying for DAZN. Nobody paying for DAZN, you know. But I think he thought he could be like he just tried to go another way. He put himself in a box, very similar to how Terence Crawford did. You know,
for the money,
for the
for
money,
that upfront money. Yep.
Signing with. I think he thought he was going to get because he signed with DAZN after Canelo. When they heard that big check that Canelo got, Bill Haney, he went ahead, he pushed his son into that ring. Hey, man, go ahead and go with these guys. These guys ain't talking to you. Your son was never going to get no hundreds of millions from DAZN. Mm-hmm. Your son has not done enough in the sport to even see a fraction of the money that Canelo is getting. He's not polarizing in the sport in the magnitude that Canelo is to receive that kind of money. However, you know, in the short game, he could have seen a lot of money dealing with Al Haymon, but he didn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to make his son go another direction. So I've said this before in other podcasts, you know, I don't know the man's true IQ level. All I do know is that so far from what I've seen, his business prowess, his business skill set isn't on the level that it needs to be on of handling a professional athlete. Mm-hmm. You know, he could probably mentor some people off the block, but as far as navigating an elite athlete who's capable of acquiring and obtaining numerous endorsements and contracts and things like that, with the potential to make hundreds of millions, you don't have the skill set to be steering that ship. You need to move aside and you need to get some people of a higher, not just intelligence, but actual accredited knowledge. You know, someone that actually got some alphabets behind their name that have a skill set in business. You don't have a true skill set in marketing. You don't have a true skill set in public relations. You don't have a true skill set in contracts and acquisitions. You don't know anything about that. You know how to promote hood YouTube rappers. Mm-hmm. And here it is, you know, when it comes down to you promoting your son versus how some of these other young brothers are being promoted, he's not being promoted better than Tank is. You think promoting your son is, let's get a photographer, let's rent some cars, and put you in some designer clothes. Let's put you in these little European, little tight-ass jeans and shit like that. Because these kids, like, you know, a lot of these little young kids, they think it's all about these foreign brands and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and slap some of these stereotypical coon-ass clothes on you. Let's let you stand in front of these rented cars. Let's take some pictures and make people think that you got it. And that's what's going to draw the attention. Yeah, lames and saps and suckers love shit like that. But real ones know that shit don't mean nothing. Mm-hmm. It's good that you work out, but all you do is work out and you take pictures in front of designer with designer clothes on in front of rented cars and shit like that. Other than that, what else is there to your personality? Other than that, what is there else? You know, you're trying to be like a baby Floyd or whatever the case may be. We're trying to floss. That shit is a gimmick. Like, what else is there to you? What else is there to you? So you kind of copying the Ryan Garcia thing with posting your workout videos, and then you kind of copying the Floyd thing when it comes to, trying to floss, the materialism and stuff like that. But what is your real true identity? And then we talk about how, he trains with Roy Jones, he trains with Floyd Sr., and then he want to train with Floyd and stuff like that. That's why I told Tank, I said, man, don't sweat that. Don't reveal that you got like a complex when it comes to the masculine mentorship in your life, AKA daddy issues and stuff like that, because this man paid to have Floyd in there taking pictures while they was working out. Because that's Bill Haney's angle, is the aesthetic, it's the look. What are these different looks? What do they imply? What do they translate? And like I said, I've said it before. I like the way that Devion Haney, is always in the arena, always in the gladiator arena, sharpening his sword, working on his craft, practicing and stuff like that. I like his work ethic. But, I've also said this, talent will only get you so far. Talent will only get you so far. But when you're talented and you have a good work ethic, you're unstoppable. Jordan had talent, but he also had an incredible work ethic. Kobe had talent, but he also had an incredible work ethic. Floyd had talent, but he also had an incredible work ethic. And it takes you further than just talent alone. There's a lot of players that had talent, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't have, like, you know, Shaq. Shaq had talent, but he didn't have the same work ethic as Kobe. And Kobe even said it, you know, we could have went a whole lot further. We could have won more rings if he had just a fraction of the work ethic that I had. And Shaq didn't want to accept that at first, but eventually, you know, in Kobe's passing, he had to accept that. It took for this man to pass for you to accept the fact that you didn't work as hard as you could have worked, but you still got a lot out of the sport. But just think about how much more you could have gotten out of the sport. You know, it is what it is. With Haney and Gary Russell Jr., you know, I believe it's a very risky fight, but it's a fight that needs to happen. And the more and more we're looking at it, like I said, I don't know the nuances to the contract and stuff like that because I don't want to misquote anybody, but Bill Haney should be doing whatever he can to make this fight happen because this is really what his son needs in this stage of his career to be considered legitimate. You know, he's a prospect still in my mind. He's a prospect still in my mind. He's nothing more than that. And I don't think his resume nor his talent or skill set or dedication is on the level of Tank. You know, you may be barking up the wrong tree because you haven't been putting your son in there with people that can really push him to the next level. You know, you're not going to get better until you push yourself to the next level. And I think when these guys get out in the media and they start talking crazy, I think that's like a sign of fear in my eyes. You know, that's a sign of fear in my eyes. Like you really are, you don't really want the confrontation. So you're putting stuff out in the atmosphere to make it appear like it's not going to happen. So, like I said, I don't like their business posturing. It's other fighters I don't like their posturing either. But we're talking about Haney right now, and like I said, I don't know what's going on with it. I just hope that you guys are not trying to make a case of Gary Russell Jr. ducking, but you don't have a legitimate contract because that's going to make you look, you know, really, really flawed. And if that is the case, that needs to be the indication that for Devion Haney to move on. That's always going to be your father. He should support you whether he's attached to you on paperwork or not. You guys' relationship should be bidded on what he's allowed to control in your life. Me as a father myself, when COVID calms down and stuff like that, you know, we've already, you know, football season is upon us. We're staying out of, you know, any kind of sports and stuff like that. But when things resume, you know, I've reached out to the, you know, one of the fastest men in the world to ever do it, you know, former world record holder, Maurice Green. I'm going to have him training my son. You know, I'm going to work with him directly. Like I said, I never went to the Olympics. I never went to the Olympics. I never won world records and stuff like that. But I'm man enough to step aside and put him in the hands of somebody who has, so that my son gets to the next level. Whether he makes it to the Olympics or not, I want him to have the best training possible. And you know, if we link up with this coach and the actual training style is not what I see is going to take him to the next level, because everything ain't for everybody, then we'll look elsewhere. But whatever it is, we're gonna put my son in the best position possible, and that don't always have to be with me. You know, in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? I can entrust someone else's skills to teach. You know, my son certain things, and so a lot of fathers, man, you know, I look at it as an insecurity when you don't want another person to train your son. You don't want another person to coach your son. You know, you feel like your son will fail if they listen to anybody else. Like, listen, man, life is a teacher, and they're gonna come in contact with many teachers along the way. You know, but what you're doing is you're teaching your child a form of discernment, and that's what you're teaching when you allow them to interact with other people, because eventually they're gonna have to develop their own mind and their own instincts. And they're gonna have to learn themselves in certain situations also. But if you don't help them face that, you know, you can't just go and try to carbon copy some shit and then make it into your own thing. You know, you got to fully commit to a process or not. Either you're going to let this man train with Floyd and his father or whatever the case is, or you ain't. But you can't dip and dabble, you know, and I'm not against fighters having a a dynamic approach when it comes to training, and they employ different trainers or whatever the case may be. But when it's starting to get you touched up, you need to either add or subtract people from that circle, because something somewhere is leaving, too many holes and loose, lapses in your game, So, like I said, we'll just see how it plays out. I've been seeing Devion Haney post some things in regards to the contract. They said they offered him 1.5 million, and he didn't want to take it. I have not seen the contract. I just saw a tweet. I want to see an actual drafted document. I don't know if they could legally do that or not, but until you do that, it's just hearsay.
Exactly.
Until you do that, it's just hearsay. Until I see an actual contract, that this man did not sign, this is hearsay. And it's making me look at you when you're presenting hearsay, but you don't have any factual basis behind it. It makes you look like a liar. It makes you look like a fraud.
Yep.
So the Haney's got to be careful with how they handle this situation. And I don't know who's being honest and who's not. Is the way Gary Russell Jr. was talking. If you offer 1.5 million during the pandemic, at your weight class, I don't think you're seeing that kind of money. There may be a reason why, he didn't take it. There may be a reason, a clause or something in the contract as to why he didn't take it. Whatever the case may be, we're still left in suspense. But I would like a little bit more clarity on the situation myself. I feel like if you guys are going to burden us with all this shit talking, the least that you could do is release some facts to let us know what's really actually going on. And I don't count hearsay as facts. So
that's what's up, man. The real Marlo went out, but I was gonna have him piggyback off the last topic that we were gonna talk about, because I felt like you brothers covered that topic, highly great, and you guys covered that topic in so many facets, man. The bottom line is, oh, he said I'm backing out, coming right back in. Okay, bet. So the real Marlo, basically, what's going on is we got to talk about Terence Crawford and Kell Brook, because it matches with Ox's point. Because this fight right here, we keep hearing news, people keep putting out videos and content saying the fight is agreed upon, but Eddie Hearn hasn't said anything. In your video to title the fight is agreed upon and use, key terminology to say we're going to have the fight and the fight is actually going to happen. But until the fight actually takes place, this is what we're running to. Everybody's trying to beat everyone to the punch just to say the fight is going to happen. And I think that takes away from people's content creation when they do that. And people have to be very careful. You have to only say stuff when it's confirmed. I don't have to run to be the first one to say something because it sounds like I need to run to say it. I need to hear confirmation that it's actually going to happen. I haven't gotten full confirmation that the Terence Crawford and the Kell Brook fight is going to happen, kind of like Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. We know that fight is going to happen because there's an actual fight date, things of that nature. And we also know, based on the legalities of the contract, these guys are training and fight. We don't have that with Terence Crawford and Kell Brook. We don't have both fighters training for this actual fight. We just hear Kell Brook saying it's in advanced negotiations, but we don't hear nothing from Eddie Hearn. We have to hear from both sides of the aisle, both promoters. We have to hear from them. Or promoter and IE advisor Al Haymon, which to me is a promoted version of what a promoter is. And that's what makes Al Haymon such on another level, because he didn't want to be handicapped being a promoter. So the real Marlo, I'm glad you're back in, because I wanted your take to start off on this one and buffer it. How do you feel about Terence Crawford and Kell Brook? Because there's a mixed thing going on, bro. A lot of people are saying, well, if Terence Crawford fights Kell Brook, he's fighting a battered Kell Brook. So because he's fighting a battered Kell Brook, it's not technically a legitimate fight or anything like that. Here's my take on it. If this fight actually happens, I'm going to keep that same energy over here. If that fight actually happens and Terence Crawford goes in there and he beats Kell Brook definitively and cleanly, I mean, he has to embarrass him, then I'm going to give Terence Crawford credit. But if Terence Crawford is in for a fight, which is what I presume that he's going to be, because Kell Brook is not only going to be the biggest name that Terence Crawford has fought, He's actually going to be the most skilled opponent that he's fought if people are being honest and they're being real with themselves. And yes, Errol the True Spence broke a whole damn face. And yes, Triple G broke a orbital sock bone in the eye. But the bottom line is Kell Brook has won 3 of his last straight fights, and there's no disputing that. And Kell Brook is a big ass welterweight, and he's heavy as fuck. And we've seen Terence Crawford have problems with fighters that carry a certain amount of weight. And then we have to look at the fighters that Kell Brook has been in the ring with. He's been in the ring with Sean Porter. He's been in the ring with Triple G. He's been in the ring with Errol Spence. I don't believe, and I'm going to hold that position, I'm not sold that Bud can go in there and beat an upper echelon welterweight. There's a reason why he re-signed with Top Rank, because I only don't feel that it's a Bob Arum thing. I also feel it's a Terence Crawford thing to avoid at all costs all fighters minus Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence. Because if you notice, Terence Crawford's language has always been Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao. Anytime you mention somebody else, there's always an excuse. And the reason why we have to put it on Terence Crawford is because he's the one running his rabbit-ass mouth on Twitter, running his rabbit-ass mouth on all social media platforms, saying, well, you know, this fighter right here, he want too much money, or this fighter right, there's always a fucking excuse coming out of his mouth. And Kell Brook was ducked Guinness Book World of Record 10 fucking times until we're here now at advanced negotiations. I'm still in question mark fashion here, the real Marlo. Y'all know I hold an extreme position on everything because I'm always keeping the foot on the neck. I believe that Terence Crawford and this whole Kell Brook situation is so that he could duck Kell Brook and he could fight Jose Cito Lopez. I'm still leaning on that. I think the November 14th opponent is going to be Jose Cito Lopez, because until we get a solid contract in place, then to me, this fight is not actually happening. That's the energy that I'm going to keep, because until I hear from Eddie Hearn and until I hear from their side of the ball, I'm not sold that this fight is actually going to happen. And why is Terence Crawford not wanting to fight in UK? Because strategically, financially, it would make the most sense to do the fight over there. Who the fuck wants to see the fight in Omaha, Nebraska? How many fights has Terence Crawford had in Omaha, Nebraska? How many times have people not watched that shit? So if you're not going to go all the way across the pond, then at least do that shit in Vegas. So the real Marlo, what's your take on that fight? And how do you feel about Terence Crawford? And how do you feel about his landscape at 147, bro? You there, the real Marlo? Romolo, you there? All right. It sounds like he's not coming in. But all right, while he's waiting in the queue, lower to the game box, and I'm gonna pass the mic to you real quick.
I'm here. I don't know what's going on with my camera though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it seems like things are a little off or whatnot. Okay, let me have Ox. I'm gonna pass the mic to you, bro. Go ahead and say what you say. Go ahead and say your piece based on what I just had to say.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about Crawford. This will, if he fights Brook, it's a fight. I don't even know if it's a 50-50 fight, because Brook is going to be coming down in weight. It's a possibility that he may be drained. He's had a very long layoff. And I just don't like how I don't like how Crawford has always kind of thrown these little gimmies. He fights these low-hanging fruit type of fighters that been knocked out before, fighters that been stopped before. Now, I'm not going to ignore the fact that some of our greatest fighters or fighters that we support have not had losses, but if we really do look at the wins, losses, and layoffs of the fighters that Crawford has fought, I don't understand how people draw the amount of clout for him that they do. If we're going off of stats, if we're going off of data, come on, you fought Khan after he was almost killed by Canelo. He was so gun shy, so you hit him on the thigh or something like that, and he was ready to quit. These are the caliber fighters that you're fighting. You're fighting fighters that are ready to quit. You're fighting fighters that need a payday. You fighting fighters that really know that they don't have a chance to win, but it's an opportunity for them to seize. I have yet to see Crawford in a 50-50 fight, not with a fighter that's coming up from a lower weight class up to fight you, not with a fighter that's coming down from a higher weight class draining themselves to fight you, not with a fighter that's been on the shelf for over a year coming to fight you. I want to see you fight against someone fresh off of a win, someone fresh off of a win streak. They've been on a winning streak, or they're okay. He went and got him some wings. That's what's up. You know, somebody off of a win streak. You know, who's a real actual threat. So we could actually give you the credit that you deserve. It's not that I'm avoiding giving Crawford any kind of credit. I just can't give him the credit that he is clamoring for based upon his actions. You know, his actions have not been an indicator to me that he's greatness, that I need to speak about him in a certain kind of way, that I need to command respect for him, that I need to defend his resume, that I need to defend his legacy. He has not pushed me into that realm where I feel like I need to do that. You know, I recognize more bullshit than I do real shit. You know, I respect the man for getting in the ring. I respect the man for finishing somebody, whatever the case may be. I respect the man for, you know, his wins and stuff like that. However, there are some drawbacks to it. And you can't compare yourself to Floyd. Like, they criticize Floyd. Floyd was fighting way higher caliber fighters than you are. You're not fighting high caliber fighters. And that is where my personal criticism comes from. This is where my direct criticism comes from, because it's not personal whatsoever. My direct criticism comes from the fact that your resume doesn't hold a lot of equity. It's not really valid to me. When I could look at facts about your opponents that put you at a great disadvantage, put them at a great disadvantage, I can't give you a lot of equity in that bout. I can't give you a lot of equity fighting Gamboa. I can't give you a lot of equity fighting Khan. I can't give you a lot of equity fighting somebody that been shot through the knee. I can't give you a lot of credit by fighting somebody who been off for 380 something odd days, over a year basically. I expect for you to win these fights. What I don't expect is for you to be fighting a fighter that came up, he jumped up 2 weight divisions just to fight you, and he wobbled you in the process of you wobbling him. Like, he was already hurt and caught you with something awkward, and if he had his feet under him, he would have stopped you. Oh, well, Floyd got hit. Come on, man. You can't compare Gamboa and Shane Mosley. You would never fight nobody like Shane Mosley. You have not fought anyone like Shane Mosley in your career at this point. Okay? You haven't fought anybody that have tested positive for PEDs, who was knocking everybody out, whether they was on PEDs or not. What knockout artists have Crawford faced? What major threats have what real threat has Crawford faced yet? So even with him fighting Brook, you fighting a man who has had both of his orbital sockets broken. Okay. Now in each fight, he gave both fighters a hell of a fight. Although, you know, he lost both of those fights, he gave both of those fighters a hell of a fight. And so strategy wise, outside of the injuries do something to you. It's people who they tore their ACL and they were never the same again, but you got some people that tear their ACL 3 and 4 times and they continue playing. But, you know, injuries affect people differently. One injury can change the whole trajectory of your entire life. You know
I wanted to give you that, because I know you like football. Al Gore. That motherfucker done tore so many ACLs, MCLs, RCLs, and he still play football. Huh?
Yeah, Frank Gore. Yeah, Frank Gore. You know, Frank Gore they were sourcing ligaments out of hogs and shit like that to put inside of his body. Like, literally, they were using like hog ligaments to rebuild his knee and shit like that. You know, and stem cells and shit like that. So, you know, but yeah, you know what I mean. But that was his willpower that forced him to rise back to greatness. You know, Frank Gore, incredible running back, but I don't really know fully what Brook is made of. But the fact that he's even trying to challenge anybody that's notable at 147, I can't do nothing but respect that. Okay, you went up there and you faced Triple G. You came down at 147 and you fought everybody. You fought the man that everybody was avoiding. Keith Thurman didn't want nothing to do with Errol Spence. At that time, Sean Porter didn't want nothing to do with Errol Spence. Only reason why he got in there with Errol Spence is because that was the biggest bag he could get shy of Pacquiao. Floyd retired. Pacquiao, I don't know if he even liked his chances in that fight, but they weren't trying to get that fight. So the next biggest bag was Errol Spence. So he had no choice but to face Errol Spence to get that bag. But with Brook, we'll see if he could overcome those injuries and it not be an issue. I could definitely see Crawford trying to exploit that injury, the best way he can, but it's not gonna be that easy for him. I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight, but it's just with the fact that there has been such a layoff. If we see the old Kell Brook show up, we will see Terence Crawford exposed. He's the only thing, like I said, these injuries and the layoff that puts Kell Brook at a major disadvantage. Him coming down in weight, I say it's 3 disadvantages. Him coming down in weight, him having 2 serious injuries back to back. These things will play a role in the fight. The long layoff, those things will have a major effect, in the fight. And if Kell Brook is able to pull it off, even with those 3 factors against him, I don't want to hear shit else about. I don't want to hear the word dog and Crawford in the same sentence unless you're talking about a motherfucking puppy. That's it.
All right. The real Marlo, man. Say what you got to say, dog.
I'm like, damn, Ox.
Straight puppy, man. Straight puppy talk, man. You ain't no dog when you fighting wounded animals, man. You ain't no dog you fighting people off of long layoffs. You ain't no dog when you fighting people that have been shot through the knee. Inactive fighters that have been broken and knocked out and stuff like that. You are not a dog. You're an opportunist. That's one thing that I will give him great credit for. He is a masterful opportunist. But is he a sheer conqueror? Is he a all-out blood and guts warrior? No, he's not, because he hasn't been challenged in a way a real warrior would be challenged. A real warrior is going to fight somebody that's at least their equal, or someone that may even be better. Who is Crawford faced that we were like, hey, man, I don't know if he can beat him. So it is what it is.
Like he's running away from Sean Porter, somebody that
he run away from Ugas. Running from Ugas, running from Porter.
Danny Garcia, dog. Like, he ain't taking on no opponents. Keith Thurman. I mean, that would have been the fight that if there was any fight for him to say, okay, somebody close, he ain't even doing that. So
yeah, Brook ain't got no belt. Brook doesn't have any belt. It would be a lot easier to create a fight here in the domestic U.S. with another American than it is with a fighter way over in the UK. You want him to come way from the other side of the world, come across the pond, fuck around and catch the flu or catch COVID, trying to come over here, because traveling like that, it puts a lot of stress and takes a lot of toll on the body. Why don't you fight?
If that Kell Brook shows up, Ox, that fought, I mean, even if it's, let's say, 75% of that Kell Brook that fought Spence or fought Triple G, Bud is in fucking trouble, man. I'm telling you. He in fucking trouble. Those first 7 rounds, because people forget, Kell Brook can box, man. The motherfucker can box, and he got power. Because I saw Kell Brook stung Errol Spence. But it's because Errol Spence is sturdy as fuck. He's built too big, too strong, and too tough. And the motherfucker got a green night chin. We know this because the Emmanuel Larty fight gave us everything we need to know about Spence and that fucking chin of his. But Bud don't got that fucking chin. Bud not sturdy like that. And if Kell Brook is landing those type of shots on Terence Bud Crawford, I mean, the Mean Machine fight tells us everything we need to know. We talking about Kell Brook whooping the shit out of his ass. That's why Kell Brook said, I'm a major test for you, just so that we can know where you're at. He's a litmus test. And Bud Man fans just don't want to be honest about that shit. Kell Brook and Sean Porter, and I've said this plenty of time in many videos I've done, they have obliterated this whole triangle theory. Because everybody that fights Kell Brook, your ass know you're going to be in for that fucking fight. Everyone that fights Sean Porter, it's a different kind of animal, but you know you're gonna be in for that fucking fight. They bring their best to that fight, even if they lose. You ain't leaving that fight without no lickings and no wounds. Your ass will be knotted the fuck up. And I just don't feel that a Kell Brook that's throwing those kind of punches, a Kell Brook that's coming in with that kind of swag, that a Terence Crawford ain't gonna fold. I don't believe it. That's why I'm not sold on Bud, because of the fact that Bud has a flawed DNA fighter style. Hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. If he didn't have that DNA fighter style and he stuck to the script of boxing, then Bud could be a lot better. But because Bud does exchanges and he doesn't have the chin to handle those exchanges, this is why the upper echelon, the welterweight division, is not fights that Bob Arum and both Terence Bud Crawford don't want, because they know any one of these fights exposes Bud, and then Errol Spence gonna be like, why the fuck am I gonna fight this motherfucker? He ain't on my level. Why the fuck am I gonna waste my time with this dude? He getting beat up by these cats. Just like Errol Spence did with Keith Thurman. Once Keith Thurman lost the main, Errol Spence said, tables turn. That's what he said. Tables turn. That means he ain't got time to be dealing with your ass. Could you imagine if Bud gets exposed? It's a wrap. Like Burger King, that shit is a fucking wrap, man. The real Marlo, talk to us, bro. What's your take on this topic, man? Real Marlo, you there?
Yeah, something going on with the program here.
Yeah, I'll step in for him.
All right, go ahead, Lord, to the game boxing.
Yeah, so I had to agree with Ox with the we've never seen a 50-50 fight, you know, and I feel that Kell Brook can be a good test for him, but we just don't know what Kell Brook is coming in there, and we won't know until fight night. That's that's the only issue why I can't say anything definitively positive in the matchup with them coming up until we see what version of Kell Brook goes in there, because he hasn't fought at the weight for over 3 years at this point. He's been less active as well, and all of these things play a major factor in matchups. You know, you got a guy who's constantly, just think about it. You have one guy who's constantly in the boxing gym, and this is just an analogy. One guy who's in the boxing gym 7 days a week, and you have another guy who comes to the gym 3 days a week. The guy who, and they, let's say they have the same amount of talent, or talent level is close, the guy who goes 7 days a week is going to be more advanced. So when you're looking at Kell Brook, he's fought some decent people, but he hasn't really been, I think, active enough to be thrown in there with someone who is in the talks to be a number one pound for pound or top 5 pound for pound fighter in the entire world. I haven't seen anything Kell Brook has done since the Spence fight or the Triple G fight to show that he belongs in there with someone. Now, the matchup is intriguing because of what it could be, the size, his skill level, the overall matchup itself. But again, there always has to be, and I understand it's part of negotiating, but there always had to be a monkey wrench in the game with handicaps and advantages. You know, there always, why can't we get someone who is active just for it? And I keep going back to this, Keith Thurman. Okay, yeah, Keith Thurman lost. Keith Thurman, though, was just in a fight with Manny Pacquiao, right? You know, Keith Thurman just fought 2 fights. He just fought 2 fights in the time that Kell Brook hasn't even fought 1 fight, right? So that's what I'm saying. Now, and look for a Keith Thurman, how long it took for him to adjust back into the ring with his performance against Lopez, and then he goes into his performance with Pacquiao, you know, and Keith Thurman also had a weight issue as well. You know, he had to lose a substantial amount of weight. Now, does Kell Brook have to lose a substantial amount of weight? I won't say it's going to be a really super substantial amount of weight, but those additional 7 pounds means that's a lot. And when you take a look at Kell Brook's pictures right now, he's already in really good shape, but he's just naturally a big guy. I mean, from a genetic standpoint, when you look at his muscles, when you look at his head, pause. But but when you look at him overall, just as a fighter, he looks like he is more comfortable at 154 than 147. So all these things will play a factor the night of the fight. But if Kell Brook really has something to prove and he really can make the weight healthy and not be tired by round 5, then we will know what Buck Crawford is made of at that level. Because listen, Buck Crawford gets hit in fights clean and early, and we saw you can say what you want, you can laugh at him calling it a chocolate brownie, but he caught Spence with a couple of them shits, right? Clean, and Spence ate him. But Bud has a propensity that when he gets touched, that even though the fighter in him says I'm not hurt, his body reacts completely different. It's something he's just not in control of. So that makes it intriguing to me. How are you going to handle a guy who can actually punch? Also, from a size standpoint, that you might not be stronger than, because Bud is a strong guy, just overall strong. But a guy who can tie up Sean Porter the way that he did shows how strong Kell Brook is, and if he's able to impose his actual size in the fight as well. So all these things are intriguing, and I just feel like we won't really know until the night of the fight when we see what version of Kell Brook goes in there, because any version of any fighter who steps into the ring with a Terence Crawford on fight night, they have to bring their A game. No matter what you say about Bud, if you get in the ring with him, you have to you can't come in there with your B game. You better come in there with your A game. So we need to see what version of Terence Crawford, of Kell Brook, we're going to see. And as of for right now, just based on how I view the handicaps entering the fight, with the weight, with not being as active, with having 2 face surgeries, I can't pick Kell Brook as to win the fight. But I do think Kell Brook has a chance to win the fight based on if he was able to bottle up all that stuff that he's been through and understand the exact moment that he's in, and he brings that warrior spirit into the ring, then Bud Crawford's going to be in for the fight of his life. I think you're on mute.
He knows we can't hear you, bro.
Oh, we can't hear you. I think you might be on mute, brother.
My bad. Yeah. If he touched Bud's chin, this ain't no mean machine. And Kell Brook got all his strength and all his wits about him in that fight. And we're talking about Kell Brook clicking on all cylinders. If he touched Bud's chin, Bud going down. I'm sorry, he going down. I just don't feel he has the sturdiness. He's going down. And that's why you see the reluctance of why Bob Arum didn't want that fight. And then I want to drop breaking news, and then you got the back end of it, the real Marlo. The breaking news is this: Bob Arum just said that the fight between Terence Buck Crawford and Kell Brook is stalling because of network issues, no money, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling y'all, I've been telling y'all. That's why I didn't believe in that advanced negotiations nonsense. I feel like they trying to pull a rigmarole on people's eyes to make it seem like they was trying to fight a real opponent, but we gonna get Jose Cito Lopez. And when that shit happens, expect 100 series part video on that shit. Expect that. Go ahead, real Marlo. Talk to us, man.
Bro said he see 100 series.
He said 100 series. Crazy.
Hey, but I ain't gonna lie, man. My bad, y'all. I was fucking around with Wingstop, trying to catch my food while I get to the crib for the fight. But yeah, man, Terence Crawford and Kell Brook, man. Terence Crawford could be in big trouble, bro. He could be in big trouble because we ain't seen him with a top, you know what I'm saying, notch fighter. If Kell Brook is anywhere or what we used to see, because I haven't seen him in Hellas. I think he did come back and fight somebody who we didn't know. But if he come back, you know what I'm saying, clicking on all cylinders and he hit Terence Crawford with that right hand, because he got a good ass 1-2, man. We all know that. He got the good 1-2, which is exactly what Ivan Redcat. No, not I got him. Green Beans hit Bud with. Green Beans hit Bud with that. He was countering him with the right all night. You know what I'm saying? Back over and over, and even dropped him with it. So if he can hit him with that shit, I know damn well Kell Brook timing, size, and all that shit. He can catch Terence Crawford. Then he like to lean on you with it. So Terence Crawford gonna have to be real strong for this fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how strong he gonna be, but he gonna have to be real strong. Other than that, I don't know, man. It's hard to say because I don't know how Kell Brook gonna come. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of. I ain't seen him in years, so I don't really know. But if he come like I used to see him, he might fuck Bud up and fuck up everything. You know what I'm saying? I hate to see that. I hope Bud win. I hope, but Kell Brook is a big ass dude, man. And another thing, Terence Crawford should leave that southpaw shit alone for this fight. Don't even do it. Just fight. Fight regular. Don't even fight southpaw, because he hit you with that right hand, you definitely going down, bro. And he bring his whole body weight with the punch. So he gonna push you down. He gonna go down. So then depending on where this fight at, knowing Bob Arum, I know this ain't gonna probably be in the zone control. So I doubt that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was gonna say they could rob his ass, but you know what I'm saying? I think Bob Arum, you know, he a master finesse. He know what he doing. You know what I'm saying? So Bud should come out and win with this, man. And either way, no matter what Kell Brook show up, I'm gonna give Terence Crawford credit for this fight, because this is pretty much what fans was asking of. You know what I'm saying? To get in the ring with a real welterweight. Even though Kell, we don't know if he a fucking 154 pounder or welterweight, I don't know. But long as Terence Crawford get in with somebody who actually got a real name, finally, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give the dude some credit for this fight. But I just hope he don't come out with too many scratches and bruises and shit and get exposed and or knocked out. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be like, damn, I told y'all niggas. But at the same time, I wanted Errol Spence to do it. So I hate to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Now, actually, I would love it. You know why? Because I'm tired of that bullshit, dog. I actually would love this shit. Because I've been telling motherfuckers Bud don't belong in the ring with Errol Spence, and people need to keep the same energy. They act like they ain't seen the Mean Machine fight. Bud got exposed in that fight. I don't care what anybody tell me. You are not supposed to lose to an opponent that's got a Marvel character name that was on the shelf for 9 months, and you Terence Bud Crawford. You the other guy that's supposed to be the super fighter of the ages. You're not supposed to have performances like that. When you have performances like that tells me when you fight Spence, Spence gonna fold your ass like a fucking pretzel.
And then not only the Green Beans fight, we seen the David Bennett. I mean, I keep getting these damn dudes. Yeah, we seen Benavidez come over the top of Terence Crawford jab a lot. You know what I'm saying? Come over his jab, counter with his jab, using his reach and size. He looked like he was a little too big for Crawford. But Crawford, you know what I'm saying, that leg fucked him up, and he couldn't really put no extra. He couldn't step into his punches like he could, like he should have been. You know what I'm saying? If he could step into some of his punches, it would have fucked up Bud a little more than what I seen, because it kind of like I seen him like kind of like stunned but not hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
He was getting caught you know what I'm saying, over the top of the jab, it made Crawford not want to come in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. Kell Brook gonna go. I don't know. Terence Crawford gonna have some problems with Brook. I feel like.
Damn, boy, Tyrone Spencer said, if Kell Brook wins, I'm going to party for a month. Dog, if Kell Brook wins, I'm partying for 12 months. Because I'm tired of this Bud shit, man. I'm telling you. Bud don't belong in the ring with Spence. I'm sick and tired of that bullshit. And then I won't be surprised if Spence get on fucking Twitter and start. Spence notorious for that shit. Spence start dropping a bunch of fucking tweets. They said this motherfucker right here can hang with me in the ring. He probably will laugh his fucking ass off and then tell Kell Brook, yeah, rematch you so I can break your other fucking face. I would love to see a rematch with Kell Brook and Errol Spence, and Errol leaves 147. Spence breaks his other fucking face and then take his ass up to 154. Because truth be told, I'm not sold on Bud Fraudford, man. I'm not sold on him. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Mean Machine, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's why everybody called his ass out. That's why Gary Russell called his ass out. That's why Jose Ramirez called his ass out. Because everybody was like, hold up. There's a blueprint to beat this motherfucker. Because Mean Machine dropped him. So if that was my punch, oh, yeah, he ain't going up. See, all of these guys are starting to put things together. Even Adrian Broner. Shit. Hey, look, I don't need to be at my best. But as long as I can land that punch like I did with Sean Porter, this motherfucker ain't got the chin. As long as I land it, it's over. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all like this. I like Terence Bud Crawford, and I was a big supporter of Terence Bud Crawford. But when I started seeing these late moves and how he was moving, I just wasn't sold no more, and I had to pull the gas off the pedal. And then I asked myself a quick question. Spence versus Crawford, what kind of fight is that going to be? That's not a boxing fight. That's a law of attrition fight. Because Spence is a punishing artist. And Spence knows that all he has to do is close the ring off and fold Bud's ass like a fucking pretzel. Mean Machine copied Spence's blueprint. I know y'all saw that shit. Mean Machine ain't fooling nobody. He tried to be Earl Spence. He just ain't had the Earl Spence gas. And when he did that shit, he dropped Bud. So imagine the real originator that has the gas and the punch resistance. Man, Bud will be in for a rude fucking awakening, man. Spence will, Bud's mental won't quit, but Spence will physically make Bud quit in the damn ring. That's how that fight will play out. That's just the way that I see it. Like, they don't even belong in the same ring with one another. That's just the way that I see it. Like, Crawford don't belong in the ring with Spence. I've been a strong sayer on that shit, and I'm gonna continue to be an sayer on that. Bud don't belong in the ring with Spence because he ain't Mayweather. All this shit about, well, Crawford get touched up way too much. If Crawford had Mayweather type of defense, then now we're talking about a fundamentally different type of fight. But Crawford get touched up way too much to be handling Spence. And we heard what Leonard Ellaby said in that sparring match with Floyd and Earl Spence. He said, man, you gotta have something to keep Earl off of you because Earl stay on your ass. That's the thing with Earl, man. Earl put all that gas pedal on your ass, man. And we know damn well if Earl is fighting Bud, Earl gonna be in super shredder mode. And if I see the vascular shape, I see the anabolic physique, man, Bud getting fucking demolished, man. This ain't even a competition. I won't even sit here and act like 50-50 fight is a close fight. It's to me 100-0 fight. That's the way that I look at it. Because truth be told, Spence hardest opponent at 147 to me, and I've been saying this from the jump. His hardest opponent, the real Marlo, his hardest opponent, lower to the game boxing, his hardest opponent, Oxsteel, is your Dennis Ugas. Your Dennis Ugas. I keep telling people this shit because your Dennis Ugas has a Cuban background pedigree. He has skills, and your Dennis Ugas knows how to fucking counterpunch. And that fight right there will be a dynamic fight. Guess where? At 154. I can't wait till that fucking fight happens. I damn sure. Who? Yeah. Your Dennis Ugas fans. I can't wait for that shit to happen, dog. Because I could see that fight playing out at 154. I could see it.
I think Earl Spence would dominate Ugas, though.
You think so?
Yeah, because Ugas, his style.
Ugas don't have nothing to keep him off.
Huh?
Ugas don't have nothing to keep Spence off of him.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You said Boots or Ugas?
No, Ugas.
I said Ugas.
Yeah, Ugas, his style's too slow. He too slow for Spence, man. He a good counterpuncher and all, but he ain't gonna be able to stop getting hit by Earl.
Yeah, Errol gonna put him in a firefight and want to trade. He gonna put him in a firefight because he don't have the power to keep Spence off of him. He's not even a bigger puncher than Kell Brook.
I still feel Earl gonna win. I'll make that very clear. I got Earl's body, but I'm just saying,
brawl to the walls.
You got some boxing skills can't be looked at now.
Yeah. Yeah, Ugas went balls to the walls with Omar Figueroa.
But he also semi-retired him too now.
Yeah. They were doing
sense though.
Yeah. I'll say that.
Yeah. Porter ain't calling out Dennis Ugas. There's a reason for that, though.
Yeah, for real.
I think Ugas got one good too. Like how we say Denny got one good. Okay. I think Ugas got one good.
He's just very skilled. He's just skills.
Yeah, he is, but he get hit too fucking much. He don't. When he
knock his shit off.
That chin kind of suspect.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna throw this little this tidbit in the ring also. Like, to be honest with you, if there's any fight, I feel like Errol should run back. It should be that fight that he had with Brook, because until he was able to hurt Brook was on his ass. If there's any fight that made that made Spence look a little bad, was that fight. You know, not really look bad, but he definitely looked, challenged at it. He looked real challenged. You know, it definitely made us see a different side of Spence. You know, Spence, people look at the Mikey Garcia fight like, oh, he didn't knock him out. Like they look at that. These haters be looking at like, even a win is like a loss. You know what I'm saying? So since you talking about this man because he didn't knock him out, the man still won. But if Mikey Garcia don't want that rematch, but if there's anybody that wants the rematch, Kell Brook has been clamoring for that rematch, but instead of at 147, I would like to see them rematch at 154. But obviously, hardware and all that stuff, that's the most sought after prize, belts and stuff like that. I think if anybody want an easy belt right now, they need to get in there with not an easy belt, but if there's any belt that you have a high probability of acquiring or obtaining, it would be from Pacquiao or from Bud Crawford right now. If you go after one of them two fighters, you're gonna get a strap off of them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're active, if you're a threat. Thurman, he blew it. Thurman blew it. Porter, he blew it. But Brook has the capability, if he can assimilate back down to the weight and still be able to bring some of that power and all the things that he's done before to get him where he's at. He could come down there and he could trash Pacquiao. He could take Pacquiao out the sport. I feel like that would be a smart move for him to make. And once he has that hardware, other people are going to come out the woodwork, and want to get it on. As far as with Crawford, I would love to see Brook stop Crawford. That way, Spence and Brook can run him back, for that hardware. I think, people just focused on Bud Crawford, but it's like, man, this dude he ain't fought nobody. He hasn't proven anything. There's fighters out there who have been, more blood and guts than him that I would actually like to see. Like I said, I already know if that chin get tapped, it's over with. Yeah. And your defense ain't nowhere near what Mikey Garcia's was. Mikey Garcia was just like a real tortoise in there, the way he was shelled up. He wasn't trying to get hit with shit. And, I've seen a little bit of pressure be applied on Crawford. And even when he tries to shell up, he's still getting hit with shit. And when he can't take the heat, he get on that back foot and he start running, and it's just not going to fare well. I wouldn't even go out there as far as to say when it comes to agility and lateral movement, he doesn't have better lateral agility than Porter. I think if the Porter came that fought Spence.
Damn, Ox went out. Ox, you good?
Would embarrass.
There you go.
The Porter that came and fought Spence would embarrass Crawford. You know, so I would love to see these fights happen or whatever the case may be. We're here during this pandemic. I think it's a lot easier for Crawford to get a fight made with Thurman than anybody right now. But see, like I said, man, he doesn't want to fight anybody that's fresh. And Thurman, he jumped all the way up to damn near 200 pounds, in depression after Pacquiao, but he's in the continental U.S. You guys can make that fight very easily. He has a loss on his record, so his bidding, his contract, his purse is not going to be that big. That's a fight that could easily be made. All you got to do is send a contract. Thurman said, man, just send a contract. You over here in advanced negotiations with a fighter where it's going to be network issues and all this stuff like that. What about Thurman? What about Ugas? Ugas is the fresher of the two. Ugas is just coming off of a fight. I'm pretty sure Ugas will run that with you in January. I could totally see something like that happening, but why is it not being spoken about? There's certain people that Crawford won't even speak on. Certain names that Crawford doesn't even want to bring up. It's a lot of names that he overlooks and stuff like that. And to me, that's suspect also. So if they're able to get it done, I feel that Crawford is going to get exposed either way, one way or another. I feel like a couple people have his number. Ugas, Thurman, Brook, and several other fighters. Porter, I feel like a lot of people got his number. And it's only a matter of time before we see what Crawford really is truly made of. But we're not going to see that unless it's more of an even fight as far as someone not being on an extreme layoff, man. Brook been off way too long for you to be trying to fight this dude. Why do you keep trying to fight fighters? Where did this even come from? First of all, with everything that's going on right at your feet right now with people that are coming off wins and stuff like that, how are you talking about a fighter that ain't been active in almost 3 years? And I'll say this also. There are some, as my man Loyal to the Game said, some handicaps that we have to take into mind. Like I said, the layoff, the weight drain, the surgery, But since we are in a pandemic and we're not fighting in front of arenas and stuff like that, packed with, thousands of people, this is really exposing what fighters are really about when they don't have that crowd behind them. It's kind of like, it's not like sparring, but it's almost like sparring. It's a private event. There's no more than maybe about 50 people inside the room. So it's really just you and that fighter. And this may be a good thing. Because a lot of fighters ain't the same fighter that we've seen that were in front of thousands of, fans. And so that layoff may not mean nothing because it's like, okay, you got fighters that have been laid off for a while. And then you have fighters that are only hyped up by the crowd. So the fact that, we're in a smaller venue, it may be the driving force to make it more even. You don't have a crowd behind you, so you're not as hyped as you normally are. That's on the Crawford side. And then you got somebody that's been laid off for a while.
Bud ain't fought since December of last year. So they're going to give him, EJ88 talking about it, he said, a green bean or mean Beijing or mean machine rematch. I could see that shit happening too, man. But I got Jose Cito Lopez because that's what they do, but they always give him a fresh tomato can. So I just feel like
fresh tomato can, but we'll see how it goes, man. We'll definitely see how it goes.
Prego.
Yep.
Prego and Ragu.
Yeah.
Man, listen, loyal to the game, Ox still the real Marlo. I'm gonna just go ahead and close it out, man, because we gotta watch this fucking fight. Man, y'all tore this live stream up. Next week, we're gonna try to run this thing back again, man. We're gonna try to get as many lives as we can possibly get based on the Charlo brothers and based on everything else that's going on. I appreciate you brothers, man, for showing up and showing out. Loyal to the game boxing. I like the haircut. Looking like a baby boy, man. Marlo, man, appreciate you, man. Like the beard, dog. Like the fresh cut.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for showing up and showing out. We know you was chowing down on that damn 3-piece. I gotta go chow down on my damn 3-piece, man, and enjoy these Charlo fights, man. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Y'all check out Lord Tibetan Boxing Talk Facebook group. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go ahead and talk to the brother. He'll go ahead and add you on to that Facebook group. That shit is live as hell. The real Marlo, you know, he got a platform, YouTube channel. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe, comment, like, and share. Check that brother out. That brother keep pushing, and he comes with a unique take that fits his character. This man has mastered emojis with titles, so I got to give him credit with that. And he always got an emoji that fits exactly with what that title is all about. Oxtail, I know you're building up your channel, brother. And when it gets built up, definitely gonna go ahead and check all the interesting and unique things that you guys got going on. Hopefully, we can get the same group again next week. So I'm gonna reach out to everybody because we just got a lot of shit to talk boxing, man. After the Charlo, what's next for them if they go ahead and do what we say they're gonna do this weekend, and then also the forecast for the next fights, man. The only thing that we did not cover, Lord to the Game, Oxtail and the Real Marlo, was Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. So that's going to be the first one up in the next conversation because we just got a lot of on that, man. I know y'all know where I stand. Y'all know where I stand, but it'll be interesting to see what the Real Marlo and Lords to the Game got to say as it pertains to Teofimo versus Loma, man. That's an interesting fight. And everybody got their 2 cents on that. And I'm sure everybody going to say what they got to say as it pertains to that. Y'all enjoy y'all Saturday, man. Y'all drink. You know what I'm saying? Get y'all some ass, man. Relax. You know what I'm saying? Watch the fight. Do what y'all do. We grown men. We relax. We chill. Appreciate y'all contribution. Appreciate y'all support. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everyone that showed up and showed out and showed us all support. And appreciate everyone that felt that we gave them a professional quality product. Thank you guys, man. I mean, you know, I'm humbled by the fact that I can have educated brothers come on, give their take, be professional, you know what I'm saying, and basically just walk from a different genre. And we don't always have to agree, but we're showing other men out there how to be cordial on a live stream, how to have grown conversation and not sit there and say, you don't know shit about boxing, you're a fucking casual. We know how to do this stuff and we do it well. So Lord to the Game, salute to you. Oxtail, salute to you. The Real Marlo, salute to you, brother. Y'all enjoy yourselves. I know you're gonna be on that Duce. Me, I'm gonna be on. Let's see what I'm drinking tonight. I'm gonna be on my Maker's Make. Ox, I'm sure you're gonna be on something. Lord to the Game, you probably gonna be on something too, man. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.